Yo, yo. Ooh, with the wingspan. Look at that. I like it. Very creative. Yeah, I don't know what's going on my stream deck, but it's acting stupid. Lower that a little bit. We'll be back, chat. We took a day break. I wasn't really feeling it yesterday, so. And I'm getting echoes. All right. Can we switch over? Yeah, guys, I gotta crash this deck real quick. Give me 1 second. Something just fucks up. It just fucks up a little bit, you know. And it's extreme latency, that shit. All right, what's the plan? Oh man, what did I miss yesterday? That thing. Oh man, they reduced our health again? What the fuck? Not my jurisdiction. Victim was a local. And every time I do that, I lose my little bubbles down there. I can't see. Figure out something. Better. Shit. Only games with the offline follow. Check them out. Stitches, what's going on? What's going on? Sucks. Think I can pull up my map again and it'll come back up? Nope. What about this? Nope. How much water I got? Nothing. Nice. Yeah, I've seen the application. Application, sorry. And I was like, man. That's good. Let's do some time down there, you know? They need some help down there right now anyway, so. Good to hear. Glad you made it. Now I can hunt criminals instead of animals. Yeah, I did go on the crime support actually. So, I think I've noticed that's when that happens. Let's see who the fuck's on duty. Whoa, we need to hit the bank up. Of course. Alfred Spango. Actually, we're going to put it in the ledger. And yes, you have to hold the arrow down. There's no way to input. I know some of y'all thinking right now, that suck. That's what we got right now, okay? Oh no. No way. Yeah, there's only a couple in the county. I mean, I'd say there's like 4 or 5 that I've ran into. So. Alright, we're good there. Alright. Yeah, usually they wouldn't kill you though. Kind of. I mean, I know of only one that maybe would. I'm gonna leave that up to you to figure out, but you probably already did. Yeah. That happens. Did they engage with you at all? Like, did they do like this? Sister Cheyenne, let's go. Oh no, what if the one doctor's there? Good evening.
Who?
What's up?
Where's Morgana?
What?
Apparently Morgana was stabbed from the front.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, we all have sore throat.
Oh, shit. Was that Sister
Yeah.
Cheyenne? She okay? Oh, no. What happened to her? Yeah, only learned sign language from Sister Naomi. Three guys wearing black and red masks robbed the bank. Oh shit, guys in black and red. Okay, I'm gonna go look for her.
Thank you.
Sheriff's office, anybody in there? And red. Yeah, I saw you on the training chat. Or the Wesso. That's funny. Alright, we gotta find the vampire, man. I mean, doctor. Yeah, it usually is, to be honest, as long as they're not shitty about it. Stash. We did see a guy go this way, though. Yeah, it is. It can be. Fighting is pain, usually. I think it's all RNG, but that's just me. Oof. Yeah, mine's probably about even. We're undefeated against Gator though. It frustrates him so much. He's so competitive. I think we're like 5-0 against him. But then like you take somebody like Hazel or come on. Not surprised. Oh, you did? Wait, Sheriff Jeff? You mean Royce? If you're an armadillo, you're in Royce. Royce Anderson, I think, is the sheriff. Or you mean Sheriff? Probably James. I think James is the... Ah, okay, yeah. That's Sheriff. Hello, good evening.
Howdy.
Have you ever seen guys in like black and red right here any time recently, have you?
Sorry, I'm only hearing every other word. Is that?
Oh, I think everybody has a hard time hearing right now.
Yeah.
Guys, 3 guys. Black and red with a lady on the back of their horse.
No, I haven't seen anything.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Why we all have sore throats? This isn't going to be a fun time, chat, if this is an issue right now. Yeah, Roy's been staying up late. Oh, I don't get how some people are here. Oh, tomorrow, guys. Ladies and guys, we're going to... No, not tomorrow. Take it back. Don't listen to that. Friday. Possible 24-hour stream. I don't know. I've never done one. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know. We're going to see what happens. If it's not a 24-hour one, I almost pinky promised it's going to be a 12-hour one. So I think the longest I've ever done is 9 or 10, but I think 12 should be easy. And then depending on how I feel, how much beer I drink, we'll see how it goes. It won't be all the time on duty because I don't want to be through a couple beers and then it might be, to be honest. So I mean, with that kind of voice issues, usually you'll hear it from every other person, right? But if it's everybody, that sucks. But you can still RP with /me's, it just takes longer. See who the ones are. Oh shit! Alright, nobody saw that. I rode to pretty much everywhere I could. And I can't go to Van Horn or Annisburg without anybody, so... That could be why we're kind of low population right now, too, because nobody can really speak. I should have played that out a little better. You mean you want me to go find the doctor by myself? Was that a question mark, Stitch, or do you know they posted something? So. Yep, do you?
Hey, Sheriff.
Oh shit, everybody has a problem with the sore throat, huh? It's going around.
Oh, Jesus. Sheriff.
Yeah, I can barely hear you.
I have to fix soon. This is pretty to work with. Hold on. Yeah.
This the true RPers right now. Oh, they did mention it. Glitch, what were you trying to post? I will try to allow you to... Oh my god. You Huh? Yeah, I seen it. You didn't have to tell the whole world. I ran over a local. Yeah, I think I can grant you like 10 permissions to do that. I think it's in here. Invite what? What does that mean?
I think I might have missed something.
Yeah, I don't know, Reddit. He's okay. You're good?
This.
Alright, we'll see you, okay?
Good luck.
All right,
Good
Reddit.
luck, Sheriff.
Yep. I don't see him. Got somebody over there. Nope. Let me see who's clocked in. Got anything in this box? Nope. Forgot this door sucks. We have Risotto Mario. All right. Back to roads. I'm not the one to send telegrams out and wonder where everybody is. Wonder if that's a thing. No, because I can never talk in here. Yeah, it wants me to sign in. Fuck. Oh, I'm getting a code. There we go. Ooh, here we go. /. User. Let me see if this works. Come on. Alright, I don't know. Try the same link again and see if that works. I don't know if I have it set to certain people. But I did just learn how to ban people through the chat, so. Almost hit that local again. I really hope the voice issues are done by Friday. So. Yo.
Hello, sir. Senior Daddy Marty. Oh, fuck.
Okay.
Gee.
How come their voices don't sound fucked up? Hey, everybody sounds okay right now. No, nobody else sounds this good. Well. You guys hear me? Hello?
Hello, Napu.
Hello.
Wait a minute. Everybody start speaking.
Everybody has a sore throat in the county right now. Must be going around, don't know.
I don't know what you just said, but I'm gonna.
How do you do?
I mean, he sounded good when he first wrote in, but... we're missing a doctor. Oh my god. Well, he was like, fuck a this. Fuck a this. So everybody I know right now is in voice chat. One second. Yo.
Trying to weave a damn basket while
Napu?
wearing a scuba
Yo.
suit.
It's
Yo.
such
Is
it's a
shit
very
fucked up
usable
still?
skill. Yeah.
Yes.
God damn it.
Yeah,
So we're role playing in
everyone
here.
Yeah.
All right, guys, everybody quiet.
Except we're all just angry and sad.
Pretty much.
No.
I'm in pain.
I'm
Oh,
happy.
no.
I'm actually good. I don't know what your all's problems are.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I'm playing for honor. That's why.
Playing for honor.
You can't buy me.
You cannot be having a good day.
Fucking Tetris, dude.
You know what
You
they
cannot
could
be
do?
You could not be having a good day.
No, that wouldn't
Hey,
work.
do you want to do for honor with Abe?
I feel like if I play
I'm
for
sorry.
honor after the traffic that I had,
Put a lot in there.
So someone just DM'd me. What? I don't know. Has it? Sorry. Sorry, you guys. I don't even like these people DM me all the time.
Isn't it in the rules not to DM you guys?
Yeah, you know, you would think, but like people love DMing me all the time, even though my DMs are closed. But yeah. So I'll clarify the backpacks and the wagons a bit more. Just because like. So the biggest issue we have like with our rules right now sometimes is that sometimes we have a lot of hands.
All right, chat. Right now, you're gonna get
things all separately
just
in
the meeting.
rules. But like, just to kind of go over what I've done so far, because the backpacks I'm still working on redoing. I just gotta get my mind into it. a couple things that I have changed. Okay, okay. Okay.
That's hilarious, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you know, I'm in debt due to this server. Anyways, no, it was because we were trying to reach out to a different DDoS protection company, and they only cover Linux, not Windows. So that's why. So
What about
this is all
Clefairy?
this, huh?
Cloudflare.
Yeah, yeah, I think we looked into it. We looked at the cost. So the DDoS that we have right now that we're going through is hitting at about 1 gig. We're right under at 967. That's how hard they're hitting us. But we have about 1 gig of protection. Anything more than the 1 gig that we have is going to cost us about $2,000 a month. So, yes, it's quite expensive.
If you use Cosmic Networks, that solves your issue because they have 7 terabits. But
Yeah. I just would have to talk to Shadow on that end of things. I mean, you can, yeah. I was just here to kind of go over the rules. I know he's trying to figure that out, but that's, you know, hey, he'll definitely. We've been going over a lot of different things.
Can we also throw in suggestions?
Yeah, that's what this is for. That's what this is like. So this is all the same. The summaries are the same. The characters are all the same. The only thing that I did change on like reverb really was this one, which said like instead of it just being like yada yada whatever, it's just whitelisted jobs. So whitelisted, we all know what whitelisted jobs are if you've been in RP long enough. So like law, medical, like if you're an official gang organization member, like you're not an unofficial, you're inofficial, like the Johnsons or the firm, or like I think the Lemoyne Raiders and like the Wapiti tribe people, they're technically like an official organization member, and then like people in the DOJ. The one thing I did revise here, um, really, this is all the same. I did add in to it that being toxic or harassing someone's Twitch or their stream, server Discord or direct messages is not allowed. It wasn't emphasized on the stream part, and I know we have quite a few streamers, so I did emphasize that part a little bit more.
Thank you.
So I know that there's been a lot of confusion in the past on the words like terminology that people use. You can use the terminology prayer, so that's something that I did use in here because I use it. I see. I know that there was a lot of confusion in the past about like some people saying that it was like a rule break. As long as it is a like in county word, I literally could care less. As long I don't give a fuck if it's like what is like the fucking sky. I really could care less as long as it has icy intention. Like if you're just like, oh, I'm gonna make a government ticket, like you can't fucking dispute that. But if you're like, oh, I have a prayer, then okay, like that is an icy term. So the one thing I did emphasize on that was when a situation calls for a government ticket or a prayer, like to not discuss it in the server or to approach a staff member in the server. Their tickets are a matter that's
They're in the
handled
saloon right now, chat. If you're in here listening too.
So I did. So for the Supernatural, we've had quite a few people open up tickets about. So I did actually like emphasize on this. So for this, the approved like examples of like supernatural RP characters would be like Romani oracles, palm readers, native shamans, pagan shamans. Like I should not see any more scenes in Saint Denis talking about like vampires and shit. Okay, we all know. No offense to anybody that believes what they believe, but I'll be honest with you, pretty sure vampires don't exist, at least in my book. So in 1885, yeah, like obviously people thought things existed like we do now, but if that is an example of something that you would want to do for RP, then like it needs to actually have like a RP, like no one should know that you're walking around biting people. Like that's just weird. Don't be weird, because then they're gonna call you weird and put you in a hospital because you're going around biting people. Like,
Isn't there a vampire in the story mode?
There is. I think there is.
There is. It's an extra.
Yep.
So, but these
There's
are
also a robot, but we don't have robots, do we?
Yeah.
There's also a fascist.
So
I
they're
mean,
denying RP
Sasquatch
right now,
is a
which
mythical
I don't really
creature,
like.
and that's me.
Yeah. So
Just kind of to work hard on that.
So these are just examples of like what people could use as like supernatural. So like oracle readers, they tell the future. They give like you know, stuff like that that can really play into a character. I know we have quite a few people in county that play like Romani characters where that really fits. Then nothing else changed there. So on No Intent to Roleplay, I did like obviously elaborate some things for that. So all of these are still the same: failure to obtain an ID, failure to roleplay medical injuries. Using terminology not relative to the time period is considered no intent to roleplay. If I hear someone walk up to me again and say gang gang, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself, okay?
Gang gang.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how hard it is for me to stand there and be straight face, and then I see someone's house's name like okay, for example, there's a house that's named Tweaker Crib, okay? I get it. Like GTA is fun as fuck. I totally get it. But like, how else am I supposed to RP that out to somebody and be like, oh yeah, this house is called Tweaker Crib. You know what I'm saying?
So I have a.
What's up?
Sorry for cutting you off. I have a question about that no intent to roleplay. For all the people who wear blindfolds, I don't know why. So can these people actually be blind and not see if they want to wear the blindfolds all the time?
So technically speaking, if you were RPing a character that had a blindfold, yes, you would be blind. Like either that, or you would have little to no eyesight. Like you would pretty much be blind.
Okay.
I'm not gonna control how someone RPs their character. I know that if I had a character with a blindfold on, they would be blind. I would RP my character blind. If someone chooses not to do that, you know, I like to do the old flipperoonie on them, and I like to look at them and be like, "Well, aren't you fucking blind?" And then they're like, yeah, I am blind." And then they gotta walk around Blackwater acting blind. So sometimes the best thing that I've noticed is just kind of like getting on people, like not really getting on people, but just kind of like, you know, being like, "Hey, aren't you fucking blind?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Checking them on their shit. Yeah.
basically, I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people have met Jimmy here, but Jimmy's a prime example of someone who, you know, like, checks people on their shit very often. So another one is the obvious attempts to troll rather than RPing your character. I don't think anybody in here really applies that to. They're not here anymore.
I have a question for that.
I do know sliced bread is on y'all server.
I have a question for that.
What's up?
So, what if you have a very malicious character and a very goofy character, and they just have a goofy personality?
That's different.
Okay.
So like when I say obvious when I say obvious attempts to troll, I'm talking to like the Valentine shit that I've seen. Like that is an obvious attempt to troll. Having a character that can be a bit chaotic and be like a very goofy character, that's not a troll. That you're actually still RPing a character. There's the intent to RP in that character. There's a storyline that is actively being followed.
Okay.
If I'm fucking sitting in Valentine on the porch and some dude's walking around in the basic clothing or like his shirt off with, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know. Like,
I got one more thing to add to that, actually. What about getting revived with the doctor and there's 15 cops there with guns out and you run away as soon as you get revived? You start tackling everybody.
So, yes, I actually did emphasize that too also.
Okay.
That's under a different section.
Or standing up in the wagon when you're getting transported so you fall out of the wagon and then run away.
That's a good thing. Yeah. Actually, take note of that because we're about to get to that section. So I'll need you to remind me to put that in there.
All right.
So ERP is all the same. Don't be weird. Please don't be weird, guys. Please stop being fucking weird. Anyways, command rules are all the same except for I did make some emphasis on certain things because I am super tired of removing them.
You guys know why I said that, right?
For scenes. Scenes need to be placed on realistic objects such as a wood post, a tree, or directly on the ground, not floating in the middle of the road or the air. Even if it is like a martial law thing, like, I don't know about you, but I have never seen floating words in my life. And if I did, I would fucking scream.
Strawberry.
Yeah, like,
The 3-body problem.
Yeah, so, and then another one I did was, scenes for property lines, quote unquote, are prohibited on public roads or areas around it. Your property line ends in a respectful distance to the house or the fenced-in area that you own. So, like, there's a house not too far out of the oil field, not calling anybody out, but I'm just going to use it as a prime example. I'm bebopping along, I see, and boom, I see a trespasser is going to get shot. in the middle of a public road a good bit away from the house. That is not a property line. That's a public roadway. Now, if you have fencing around your property and you put that up, absolutely. However, I don't know.
I got a
who-
question about that.
What's up?
So
What-
for Caliga Hall specifically, where does that property line extend to? Like the outer, like massive portion, or the smaller fence, like near the house?
So Caliga is the entire fenced in. So Caliga is the entire like fenced, like the big fence. Same with Braithwaite. Those are like some real like if there's a property that has a lot of fencing around it, like it's basically fenced in, that would be the entirety of the property. Example is like McFarland's, right? Like the entirety of McFarland's is fenced. Beecher's Hope is the same way. So all of that fencing is to include that property. Same with like Pronghorn and stuff like that. However, I don't know who owns Caliga, but I'm tired of removing your damn scenes, alright? You don't need a scene every fucking in between post talking about private property. You can put one, like 2 or 3, like every now and then.
Potato salad.
But
Is that why I keep having head pops over there?
Yes.
Or headaches?
I don't know who owns Caliga or Caliga, however you say it. Who, if they're in here, if you're in here, just know I've been watching you, because I'm tired of removing your scenes every time I go to Saint Denis. You don't need 100 scenes around a property to let people know that your private property is private property. They know it's owned if they see it every now and then. I promise you, word spreads super fast in county, like super fast.
Yeah, on that. The scene in the middle of Armadillo too. There's one for the martial law.
Yeah, it needs to be removed. I can remove it. But that is an example of like no, like town ordinances. Put it on a damn telephone pole in front of the sheriff's office on a wall. Like put them there so everyone knows they're there, but to where they're not floating in the air. Another thing is using slash. I've seen this quite a bit. I really want, while everybody's here in this beautiful meeting, please know that I can see all of the logs when it comes to this type of stuff right here. So I know when people are not using it for IC interactions. It's very clear. Like I literally just saw one the other day, was like, oh yeah, I have a ticket open or something like that. That's not what it's used for. Not at all. In fact, you have better luck getting away with it just saying it out loud than you do putting it in like incriminating, like not really incriminating yourself, but like, putting it like this.
Don't they have the OOC command anyway?
There is an OOC
Yeah.
command.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So if you're going to use an OOC command, use it for situations that, like, with good mind, right? So, like, the county right now, we're going through a DDoS, right? And you can't really hear somebody and you're talking to them, so you'd be like, OOC, I can't really hear you. I think, like, the county has a DDoS, whatever. Then, yes, absolutely. That's completely different. But, yeah, not using /me's. Now, I did emphasize something because we have quite a few players that are mute. And players who are mute are allowed to use /me, put sign, or use /sign to RP. However, it needs to be used for IC discussion and not OOC discussion. Luckily, a lot of the players that we have that are mute that do utilize that, I know they use /me and just put sign because they like to still move around. That is completely fine. That you're totally cool with that. I don't care. Forced roleplay. There's one that I did add on here, but this is all of the same. Forcing injuries is not allowed on somebody. Gave some examples. So fully sanctioned duels will result in a character perma to the losing party or parties.
I have a question.
What's up?
So going back to the deaf sign roleplay, is it just fail RP for everyone in the county to just suddenly learn sign language? Because it's a very hard language to understand. Like you have to put some practice
It's not
into
really.
it.
But
Is it like I don't understand? Like how
I've
would we
interacted
go
with
about
enough.
like a character not knowing sign language, right? But people just by default like role playing their character knowing what people sign. Like, wouldn't it be better to just like I don't know, have like a /me writes on piece of paper or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how someone role plays. I know that it all comes down to I'm not gonna be the person, nor is my staff team wanting to be the people to kind of overbear on. Like, it's also comes down to some people who really are like mute, and so that's really the only way they can communicate. And you know, I know my character is not a person that knows sign how at all. She actually learned sign through a character in county that is mute because that's what she does is sign language. But in their first interaction, she literally looked her in her face and was like, "I have no idea what the fuck you're saying. Why are you waving your hands around?" And then they got into a huge shootout. But
And
beyond that point, like,
and,
so it
Napu arrested Naomi enough to where he knows it now.
yeah,
So-
so it's really like if you are in the RP to RP, then you would do that. If people choose not to do that, that's on them. I can't control how they choose to RP. I know that I provide a good guideline for some serious RP for the server. I know anybody I've interacted with has given the same quality to at least, you know. I can't
That's
speak
good
for
to
other
hear.
people. I can't make people RP their characters a certain way. It's too easy for someone to turn around and say, "Oh, well, I've been known sign language." I'm not gonna, you know, I don't want to put more stress on everybody to kind of feel like, damn, if I don't do one thing right, then like I'm gonna get fucking booted, and I don't want to do that. I just know I want to make that our people who are mute, I want to make them feel included, and if that is the only way they can communicate to everybody else, then, you know, I just want to make sure on their end that they're covered.
When I first joined, it was very common that a lot of people like would RP out not knowing sign language, and then like it quickly just became a thing where like any time someone would use the /RP thing, that like they would just immediately like be like responding to what they're saying. I feel like even if like people added small things like I'm not fully understanding what the person's saying, but they get every other sentence or something like that, that makes sense, right? Like the only reason I immediately was okay with using Chiquito as someone that understands sign language because it would make sense since he grew up around a bunch of orphans and a bunch of like misused kids and shit. So I'm sure a couple of them would have known sign language and be deaf and shit.
Oh,
That's the reason
Chiquito.
I personally did with my
All right,
character.
chat. The server's
But
still kind of being DDoS, so we're
I feel
listening
like
into
to an
this meeting,
extent, if
which I think is
everyone
good for
just
everybody.
does
So you're
the I
welcome
know
to
sign
tune in or
language thing,
join
it
the
takes away
mute the stream and join the
like
saloon in the main
the specialty
newspaper.
of it being a different language. You know what I mean? Because like, it's the same way of like everyone knowing Spanish or knowing different languages. Like it's just not possible. Not everyone's gonna know the language.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like I know we got Mexico open up, and I don't know a lick of fucking Spanish. Some dude could look at me straight in my face and be like, call me a bitch or something like that, and I would be like, all right, yeah, have a good day. Like that would be me. I don't know a
No
lick
te va
of
a decir
Spanish.
puta, no vamos a
Yeah, see, like
Oh God.
No te vamos a faltar el respeto así.
Alright, everybody calm down with
In
that.
other words, we're not gonna call you a bitch. We're not gonna disrespect you like that.
Y'all getting kind of
Sorry,
wild in
no
here.
speak to radio Spanishy.
I play a Spanish character. Only know the cuss words.
Alright, so the one I did really kind of like put in here, it seems to be a common thing where it's been really put into rumor a lot. I'm not sure where this rumor started that the DOJ can perma people. It actually started it was actually before Luigi's death. R.I.P. to our man Luigi. But anyways, so the DOJ or law cannot forcefully perma a criminal unless the criminal agrees to the perma via a IC trial or OOC discussion between the two parties. Just because you are a wanted criminal does not mean that when they get you, you are perma'd. You have to make that decision whether you want your character perma'd. Period. Like they cannot just perma you. That is a big thing in Redem across the board. Any county you go to, unless you agree to be perma'd, you will not be perma'd. I don't know where that started, but that I put that in there to hopefully put an end to that rumor where people were worried about that. Now, should you continue to act your character's life as if you're probably going to die when you get caught? Absolutely, you should. Because if you are a hardened, wanted criminal, you know, you hitting the gallows, my guy. You ended
They're
up
definitely
like
hanging you.
yeah, you ended up like Luigi. So you know, just remember what happened to Luigi, guys, because he took it for everybody.
I got a question on that actually.
What's up?
So there was, I don't know, there was a scene that happened, right, where there was a character and they caught that character and there wasn't any tickets put in or anything like that, but I kind of think both parties knew what was going to happen. And is that okay if the other person is okay with it, because we didn't want to put in tickets. We didn't want to do all. I was just like, all right, we're just gonna let it happen and see what happens. You know.
No, that's perfectly fine with me, and that's really what roleplay comes down to, right? Like if you have two parties who equally love organic RP, and that's just what the scene y'all come to, and they permit and they, they're RPing with a doctor and it says no pulse, then that's what they were wanting. Then this wouldn't even apply. The rules are just a baseline to kind of help people be able to understand. But if like RP should happen naturally, if you truly are RPing, it should happen very organically. If you're
And
in a
that's what
situation
we
with a
did,
shootout
chat.
with law
That's
and
what
you
we did.
know you want to perma your character and you're going to give that law that win to perma you, then by all means RP it out. There's no reason to open up a ticket. There's no reason to get us involved. Like, as long as all parties are coolio, then yeah, then that is completely between that scene and whatever ended there. Most people know what they want when the doctor comes around and they say no pulse. So that's probably, um, which actually kind of leads us into the next part. So there's been a couple things. I did revise the deaths, injuries, and illnesses, and I put it all together. There was I did see a lot in the rules, which a lot of you had brought to my attention, which I'm truly grateful for. Thank you guys. Was that some things were really repeated. So it would say in one section and then it would be in another section, but it would be worded a little bit differently and it got a little confusing. So what I've been doing is kind of condensing all that down and making it much more simple for everybody across the board. And so a lot of them are still the same when you're revived by, I did change some terminology, so a doctor player. You are in medical custody until the doctor clears you. You cannot immediately run after someone for revenge or rejoin a scene after being downed. This applies, no offense to the lawmen, but some of the lawmen get a little happy and they get picked up and they're just gone. And I'm like, brother, you just got shot in the leg. Like, you should be imping,
She is
my guy.
100%
You should be, like, imping
right.
along. Like, you should not be
Amen to that
running
one.
in the street. Huh?
The bullets can't stop Alf.
Yeah, I've seen that. Some of the lawmen. I'm like, dude, you just got shot. You just got domed. Anyways, so when you are revived either by a local doctor or a doctor player, you are to roleplay your injuries for at least 30 to 60 minutes. So if you are hurt, this kind of falls into D2, right? So if you are downed and you are hurt, you should be waiting typically to rejoin a scene about 30 to 60 minutes. That's a pretty good time frame to be able to rejoin a scene and be cool, Like, you're hurt, all this other kind of stuff. Like, really kind of play that medical injury out. If you are down or unconscious, you may remember the events that lead up to your injuries only if treated by a doctor player. Everyone knows that. That's like a written thing across the board. So if you are down or unconscious, you may not remember the last 30 minutes that led up to your injuries when you use a local doctor or respond. That's across the board. Everybody knows that. Every server I've ever been in, that's what it always is.
Correct.
You may talk while downed or unconscious, however, it must be role-played out properly, and you must talk like you've just been injured / shot. So, groaning, screaming, like, yeah, if you got shot, I don't know about y'all, I've seen someone get shot, and when I saw someone get shot, they was screaming. I mean, this motherfucker was blood curdling. Not saying that y'all got to do that, because I don't want you to wake your kids up, late at night and they're sleeping. But I've seen someone get shot and they're not having just a talk to somebody. You got to have like some real adrenaline to do that. So you may not respond or use a local doctor to avoid role play. If you are notified that a doctor is on their way, you must wait. So yeah, if a doctor is already on their way, just kind of sit there and kind of go through it. Most doctors are willing to work with you on that sense and kind of, you know what I mean? Just kind of give them that chance too.
I have a question on that last one.
Oh. Yeah, what's up?
Sorry.
Yo,
Yeah. So is there a certain time limit the law can hold you down? Like, say if, they have you in custody, obviously you're downed, and let's say, 25 minutes pass and then they get a doctor. Like, is there a certain time limit the law can actually hold you to wait for a doctor?
No,
there shouldn't be.
No, there's not.
Okay.
So if you're in law, which I think Napu said earlier, which we can add in there since you guys mentioned that. If you're in law or medical custody, so when you're when you're revived. But I can add that in there while we're all in here. But yeah, essentially if you are in law custody, like I don't know about y'all, but I had to sit like in Lemoyne office for 45 minutes on the ground because they didn't want to get me a doctor. But
Yeah,
anyways,
no, that's
We'll work on that.
but it's okay. No, no, no. But technically speaking, it's all by the scene, right? Most lawmen are gonna get you a doctor. They're not gonna leave you sitting down somewhere. There was a rule in there that I did take out about a time frame about like releasing that, just because like I have been in scenes before that were really good organically where I was down for 30 to 35 minutes. Example, when a shootout happened outside of Rhodes because what's his damn name? Mario decided to chase us out. I was probably down for about 30 to 45 minutes. But it was a really good scene, so I'm not gonna fucking, bedaggle it because the law had me in custody, and at that point, I'm at the law's will. They'll get me a doctor when they can get me a damn doctor, so I'm just gonna kind of stick it out, That's what would
Yeah.
happen realistically, so that's what I'm gonna go with realistically, like, you know what I mean?
So let's say you're in a scene, you get downed, and you're down for 30 minutes, and there's no law. They haven't handcuffed you or told you they're putting you in custody.
Yeah, so at that point you would just respond. Like if you're
Okay.
not in active law custody, like you're not laying on the floor and these motherfuckers ain't around you talking about something or dealing with someone else at the same time, you're not in their custody or whatever, you just got left there, then yeah. I know for me I had a situation that was like that because there wasn't enough law to come and get me. So I ended up respawning and then I literally like dropped dead in the middle of the street in Lemoyne, like behind somewhere, like someone had dropped my body off and they came and got me because they found my body. But that's because I wanted the RP, so that's what I did. Could I respond and then just ran away? Yeah, I could have. It actually has happened before. I escaped a scene that way. There was a shootout, and I was actually hiding in a bush, and they didn't see me at all, and I fucking ended up getting away. So cool on that part. They actually couldn't find me. But
Can I say
so
something real quick, just sort of on law and respawning?
yeah.
So, like, as an officer, there have been times where, like, I'll get into a gunfight with someone, it'll be me and just, like, one other deputy or, like, multiple people, and we come out on top, and, like, we have, like, maybe 3, 4, like, unconscious criminals, like, we have to take them back, get everything sorted, and there have been times where, like, we physically cannot get them doctors because, like, they have friends who are besieging us in the station, so, like, we can't leave without, like, getting, ambushed or something, and a lot of the times, people will just straight up see a local doctor and get out of the jail cell when that's happening. Like, even when there's nothing we can physically do.
Ticket.
Yeah, so if there's no doctors around and you have someone in custody and you gotta take them to a local doctor, then you just gotta RP it out.
Yeah,
And kind of get them treatment, and then, yeah.
the law SOPs states like if you have someone in custody and they're hurt, you either request a medical personnel or you escort them to the local doctor. So it's
Which
a
is the
matter
problem in a lot of situations that we can't escort them, because like I said, there's a lot of times where
well,
straight up
it's one of those things.
besieged.
If they're in the cells and they respawn, that's no intent to RP. That's they're in the cells. They're in law custody.
All right.
Yeah, if they're in the cell and you left them there and you're waiting for a doctor and they haven't gotten there, you haven't taken them to a doctor and they just respond, then yeah, that would technically be no intent to RP. I would just let one of us know to kind of keep a watch on the situation, because at that point they are in law custody. However, I would hope the law isn't abusing that by just throwing someone in the cell for an hour. I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to have a criminal character, and if that was the case, and I had been sitting in the bottom of a cell for an hour, and I still hadn't received a doctor, just for whatever reason, I would absolutely respond because that's a little ridiculous. Like
Which is
I know,
fair.
yeah, in Valentine, there's literally a local doctor right next door that they can take me to. I know that I've RP'd with Napu many times, and anytime my character has been down, that's one of the first things that they'll do is take me to the local doctor or a doctor, and then take me to the cell because it's just easier to get that out of the way
Aw.
first than it is to.
You're
Put
giving
me
me
in the
shout
cell
outs,
and,
guys.
I have to wait even longer when what they really want to do is just talk to me and get information out of me. So, hopefully in that sense the the law is following their stuff to be able to know that you shouldn't just be like flopping someone in the cell for an hour. If that is the case and that's what's happening, then that's honestly like some harassment shit on the law, and we would handle it that way,
Yeah.
because that shouldn't
Agree.
be happening. At that point you're not actually role playing, you're just being a dick.
Yeah.
Right? So like
Agree
it's
with
a
that
little
statement.
dickheadish, like you know.
I got a question real quick, Hypo.
What's up?
So I know I have noticed it a couple times, you know, throughout the time that I've been here, and probably other people have too. And I don't know if it's in the rules or whatever.
The server voices
but
are
in
fucked up, so we're doing this meeting to go over new
doctors,
rules,
you know,
updated
coming
rules.
to get you. What if you are stuck somewhere where nobody can get you? You've tried everything, and you have to, unfortunately, respawn. Does that 30 minutes of respawn apply?
Yes.
It would
Like
still
you don't remember
apply.
anything? You don't remember
Yeah.
anything from 30 minutes, even though the doctor's there and they're trying to get to you, but
So,
you can't.
yeah.
They can't do anything.
Yeah, at that point, it would just be one of those things where, like, it would just kind of depend on the situation. Like, if a doctor's there and they're, like, telling you, and they're like, oh, you may need to go see an angel, and so that you need to go see the angel, then, yeah,
Can you guys hear
essentially,
them
you would
okay?
kind of forget it happened. But say the doctor came back around and was like, how are you doing? Like, I remember you fell off that cliff, and, you know, they kind of remind you of the situation, then absolutely be like, yeah, I have an inkling
good.
in my mind, like, maybe that I did get a couple bruises. I woke up with some bruises.
So yeah,
I don't
Nick,
know
these
what
are
happened, you
updated
know?
rules, kind
So,
of. We're
like, you
kind
would
of
just
just
kind of
re-going over
RP it out
because
that way, because
it
it does
because the
happen.
server's
So
fucked
if a
right
doctor
now.
can't get to you,
As far
just
as
kinda
voices,
see the
nobody
light,
can
and
really
then,
speak to each other.
you know, if a doctor
Yo,
reapproaches you about the
Pugs.
situation or something like
First
that,
time
then
chat.
you know you can
Thank you.
absolutely be like, maybe that's why I woke up with all these bruises or something like that, and it can kind of give you. Obviously, you would know because you're the player.
First time
but,
chat and
you
already
know,
helping
like,
us out.
you know, in your
Appreciate you.
character's mind, you'd be like, oh, okay, maybe that's why I woke up with so many bruises and whatnot.
Okay, I was curious about that because I know it's had to happen, and there wasn't like for me when I was reading, there was like a clear, definitive answer in regards to, you know, if you're in a scene and you do get down, but there's a doctor there and nobody can get you, like you're stuck somewhere, and people are trying to rope you, people are trying to grab you, like they're literally trying everything that they can, and unfortunately,
All right, no
they
problem,
just can't get
Pugs.
to you.
Shit.
You know, and
I appreciate the lurks, man.
have to
Even if you're in
hit that
county,
respawn or
you know, I
whatever.
don't mind people watching,
You know,
but
do you remember,
if I'm
even
out in the
though
middle of the
there
woods
was a
and somebody
doctor there
walks
and they
up
were
on me,
trying to get
it's
you,
kind
or
of
do
a
you literally just
weird
forget
feeling,
the
you know.
last 30
But
minutes?
yeah, I appreciate
You would just have to wake up and be like, oh, why did I wake up here? And then hope that maybe one of your people fills you in on what happens. And then you could be like, you
Okay.
know, oh, damn, that's why my arm is broke. Shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like you passed out would be the best way to put it. I always RP'd out that, like, I have a concussion. And I just don't fucking remember until someone's like gives me an inkling, and then I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I did fall off that fucking waterfall, didn't I? Ha ha, hee hee. So when okay, so I did elaborate on this a little bit more. So when you perma a character, you cannot transfer their items to another person unless you have a written will, and a prior story. Written will prior and a storyline that follows the transfer to your next character. It must be planned for this to apply.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
a lot of people do,
you
man.
can't just get
Lately,
into
I've been
a duel in the middle of the
getting a
street
lot of support
and
lately,
not
so it's
think
making me
about
want to
it.
do
Don't
it
have
more.
a will
So
or
I
anything,
appreciate the
and then
support.
be like, oh yeah, I want my items to be transferred to this guy, like in a ticket. No, that's not how it works. What you would do realistically if you were going to die or you lived a hardened life, right? You would write a
Actually,
will
there's a couple of
of the
chatters
things
actually
that
that
you
haven't
have and who would want
met
it to
Napu,
go to,
but
right?
they've been pretty active
And then
in chat.
if you
So
did get in a situation where you did
I'm
perma,
looking forward to
then
meeting them
because
actually.
of that, right? Then you would receive everything that they have from the other person, or like say that so like
God,
for
get out of here, I'm
example,
trying
I
to take
know
a shit.
my character has a storyline that she
No.
has a daughter, and so if I don't have a will written out that all of my stuff for the current character I have goes to my next,
You know what?
then that she's shit out
I
of
don't
luck.
know who
Like,
I
she's
would leave
just
it
starting
to. I
from the
love the
bottom.
Jenkins family, man. I
Luckily,
love them
I
the
did
past
write
two
a
counties
will,
I've been in
so
with them,
when my
or these
character
two
does
counties,
die,
right?
then
But
my next character will
I don't really know
inherit
who.
whatever that is through a will, and that's just providing RP, right? There's people like
Not really
I know
sure.
my character
be
itself
honest.
publishes books, right? I know there's someone down in Saint Denis who does the newspaper stand.
Imagine
So
not
they can
not
write
going.
books. You can, or or you can go to the DOJ and have like a
He
notarized
left everything
will,
for me.
or you can write just a will on your own. You don't have to go to the DOJ to get one. You can write it.
No,
in
I
a
know
little
who the
fancy
Jenkins family
book,
is, but I
and,
don't know
you know,
who I
that
would
can
leave
be
it
your
to
will.
in general.
As
you know?
long as it is just something I see that says like character so and so's will.
If I felt like
then
Napu
that's
was
all
getting
that's
that
all really
close to
the
that,
staff
I
would
would
need to see to be like, okay, we can do that.
I would
or
assess. It would
wherever
probably
it might
be one of the
able to do that for
doctors
you.
or
But without
another
that,
person
then
I'm
no,
thinking
we're not
of
going
if
to. You're just gonna have to
they
start
don't
from the
die.
bottom all
You know what I
over
mean?
again.
If I may.
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, so attacking on or attaching on to medical, sorry, English. So with Mexico being a thing, is that would medical have their own department in Mexico? Because given the logistics of
Yes, they do.
doctors and spread out and such, it's just, and Mexico had different, treating practices back then than compared to the U.S. counterparts. Would that be an option that we are looking into to where, it can be separate from the current medical department? Because like with law or military police, you have, Mexico and then
Yeah.
U.S.
That would be
version
kind of
things.
funny.
So
Iwap.
would that be its own separate department, or is it being considered, or what?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So
I think I would
essentially,
probably
yeah, right.
disperse
So
everything
Mexico
to
is
the
going to be its
deputies
own
minus
entity of a
one
medical
thing.
department.
And that would be a pocket watch.
So the way that the Mexico will function
But that's for
is
a
that
later
it is
time.
like essentially its own state. And so with all of that would come into that, they would have different practices and way that they would do things. I know myself, I've been working a lot with the medical department to get things back in a good place, and I just redid the SOP and all this other kind of stuff, and I'm still doing some other things. But essentially, so like I'll be opening up Amberino for doctors. I plan on putting a doctor's office and a couple other things in Coulter at the same time. And then there will also be Mexico, and Mexico will be its own entity. Same thing with the doctors that decide to work in Sisika full time. I've given them those options if
Thank y'all
that's
for
something that
stopping
they
by
want
too,
to do.
man.
We just haven't
Appreciate
had
it.
anybody that's truly interested in being a doctor in Mexico. But whoever is a doctor in Mexico, I would be.
Hence why I asked. That's what I was trying to go for.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna
Again,
go
because
piss real quick, chat. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
Fill
so
me
if
in
you put in an
if I
application
miss
for the
something
medical
spicy.
department to be a doctor in Mexico, then I would probably work a lot with you to see, like, whoever decides to get there first to Mexico, they would be in their own
Well-
department. It's its own state at that point.
Yeah, because I just had relevant
so-
experience as IRL medical and stuff. It's just I saw the current way the U.S. were doing things, and just it was
Yeah, it was very
interesting. So
Yeah.
but if you want, I can open up a founder's ticket with you and discuss it further, so that way other people can. Wow,
Yeah,
I
that's no
appreciate that,
worry.
mamas, with the message. Stephen Waters is bad news. Be cautious. I really do appreciate that. That's very encouraging and enlightening.
Yeah, I'll get with you in a founder's ticket, and I'll talk to you in a founder's ticket about everything. So we can kind of go over Mexico. I base my own experiences on people on my own experience with them. So that's how I am. So I'll get with you in a founder's ticket, and we'll go over Mexico. We'll go over medical, and we'll kind of do all of that together. So on that point,
with that,
let's
gotta
see.
fix
So
my
you
chair.
may roleplay. So the diseases didn't change. Everything hasn't changed.
Bah.
I did put some notes at the bottom. So if you have a deadly disease, you must be ready to perma your character at some point. Obviously, if that is the case, then you would. If you have a deadly disease, you would eventually be dying. You'd be like Arthur Morgan out here, right? You'd be dying. And when you do perma your character, make sure that you open up a developer or a founder's ticket so we can remove your character from the database. Every character that's made, it has to be deleted through our DB. And so if you perma a character and you don't let us know, it's going to sit there for eons, and you're going to look at your character that's still alive but dead at the same time and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've done that, but they didn't do
I
that.
did evaluate on torture RP. So it is allowed. However, I did clarify on some things. If I see, you must have consent from the victim by asking /me, do you have consent to light heavy torture? If OOC, you must have consent from both parties via a ticket prior to the scene happening, right? But you cannot force it onto another player. No, you must get consent from the victim for each body part you intend to mutilate within the scene. You cannot just mutilate someone's entire body, right? So if you are of intention of, fucking ripping off someone's fingers or whatever it
I
might
disagree.
be,
I'm gonna
then
interject.
you know, if you decide to move on to someone's kneecaps, right, or whatever it might be, you would need to ask them to make sure, right, because this is their character that's going to be affected by it. So you want to make sure that that communication is there, and that's just how it is for everybody.
So hypo with that, right? So if both parties feel that individual, right, without having to open up a ticket or go OOC to keep the kind of scene organic and everything, like if both parties kind of feel like that this person isn't really gonna matter or care what happens, that's okay too, right? Without somebody, because I just want to make sure.
So, wait, so repeat that again? Just a
So,
little bit, sorry.
so say in the beginning they slash me, do you consent to torture? Just in general. And the person's like, yeah, do your worst. You know? Like, is that still need a OOC ticket or consent
No.
that stuff? Okay.
So the reason why I said if I see your OOC is because like I know that there's been scenes that I've been a part of that it was all done IC without any tickets. That's completely fine. It's
Right,
just
okay.
either or. So I know some people. I don't like to plan my scenes. Other people do. I'm not going to judge how someone else does something. They prefer to do it beforehand, then absolutely. That's totally, they want to do it in a ticket, that's fine. Or if you want to do it IC, that's completely up to them.
Okay, good.
It's just whatever those parties feel comfortable with at the time and whatever.
Yeah, I just don't want to be a part of something and then somebody else see the other side do it, but they don't really know that the two groups are really good at what they do, right? And then report the other group for, and then there's a ticket and all that other crap. So.
Yeah. So if it's all like discussed IC, then there's no reason for a ticket, right? And then, I guess I would say Napu is a good person to really RP with. He's always fucking amazing.
Oh,
but,
stop it.
So it's true, the best lawman in Glenwood at this point. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so if it's all done IC, there's no reason for a ticket. There's been a lot of scenes that I've been a part of that's it's all been IC, and we've never needed to open up a ticket and stuff like that. Now, if you're in a scene with someone and you ask someone that and you don't get a response from them, then that's an automatic no. Just kind of want to make that clear. So that doesn't mean you just take that as a yes. It would still be a no until you get like a yes from somebody. You know what I mean? Yes, ma'am.
So you said the light, heavy, or torture RP, but there's a lot of different opinions on what's considered light and heavy. As like, say, someone who might be taken and tortured. If I'm not okay with like how far they went, can I roll back the injury a little bit, but keep it consistent with what happened?
Yeah, so I mean, like
Absolutely.
that's the thing. So like, if you're in a scene and you're uncomfortable with what's going on,
So
like
Napu
truly,
knew
like you're like,
exactly
okay,
what was
this is
going to
a
happen
little
to
much
Ivan.
for me. Like it's actually
we didn't
making me
talk-
uncomfortable. There is nothing wrong.
We didn't
with
talk
me
about it
using
beforehand.
a slash OOC and being
Right,
like, this
and
is
it
making
was-
me uncomfortable.
That was probably the
and
most
that,
organic.
like it doesn't
scene
ruin the
that
scene,
I
but
don't know, I
your
probably been a part of,
boundaries
'cause
should
I didn't
always be respected by
any-
other people.
I was like, I already knew it was going to
But if
happen
you
to him,
continue to
you know.
go through it and you're just like, okay, I
And that
didn't
crew
want
is-
that to
that crew
happen, so
runs
you do
thick.
dial back the injury a little bit.
So-
That's perfectly fine. It's up to you and how you RP your character, but you're still going through with the scene. That's. I don't want anybody to feel like if they do say yes to that they are forced to continue it. If you get uncomfortable, you can be like, hey, this really makes me uncomfortable right now. I'm not trying to be like that, but this is making me uncomfortable. Right? That's a boundary. Like that's just I would hope
Ivan
as all
got
adults,
tortured for a whole hour.
we would respect each other's boundaries enough to be like, okay, we would, let's just dial that back a little bit or whatever it might be, or just kind of communicate that to somebody. Yeah, you should never feel forced to continue a scene that you're not comfortable with. If you are, then if the party that you're with is understanding and respectful of those boundaries, then just let them know, like, that makes me uncomfortable, and
Should probably
hopefully
go
they
off
dial
duty.
it back. If not, then that's when you would come to a ticket and be like, hey, like, I told them I was uncomfortable, they didn't fucking listen, and now I really feel uncomfortable, and then we would address it from there. Because RP is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to feel like I'm reliving trauma, right? So, like,
Wanna be extorting
if
the
I am,
government
then it's a
for
problem.
pay.
I did clarify some things on NVL. I know a lot of people always have questions about NVL. So, your character must always fear for their life. examples being held at gunpoint, being hogtied, being held hostage, or evacuation orders for epidemics and pandemics. Only exception to this rule are if the situation permits an attempt to escape the situation or an advantage. So this is like the biggest thing we get tickets on. So I'm kind of glad there's a lot of people in here. But essentially, right, like if you're in a
So since they changed the script, I think there has to be that many lawmen in that county signed in order for you guys
then fucking take,
to
you know,
do it.
Like,
So
right?
I
Like,
think it's
I've had some
proximity
really good
based where
scenes
the
where
lawmen are, or
I've
who
been
are
with
on
a big
duty.
group of people.
Right before it was total county law.
So I've been in
And
scenes where
that's
there's like
why
a really,
it was so easy to do things.
where I'm in a big group of people.
But now
and
it's
there's
kind
like
of
4 lawmen,
Lemoyne's not going to go to Valentine if there's a robbery at 4 a.m. in the morning. There's only like maybe 6 or 7 lawmen on, but now that total doesn't count anymore, right? It has to be that jurisdiction's total
like,
numbers.
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where like you know, you got to weigh out
And
your
they changed the law
options for
script
your
like
character.
over the
If you play
weekend,
a
probably
character
Sunday.
that's a florist who writes books all day long, who barely picks up a gun, right? You wouldn't turn around and just start firing on a group of people or firing on somebody, right? Like, you would play with what your character is. Like, if your character is a hardened criminal, then you would RP your character to be a hardened criminal who snaps back at people, who
No, we have
doesn't
a
really, you know,
lot of
maybe runs
numbers.
their
It's
mouth or
just
not, who
I've
is
seen
not
where you
afraid of
guys try
getting
to
into
rob
a
a bank
fight,
at like
right? But
3
you would
a.m.
RP it out, and
There's not that
essentially,
many
like,
logging. There'd
that would
probably be
just
2,
come
3
down
of them,
to
man.
like,
To be
okay,
honest,
we're here for the RP.
we
If
might
a
try the
gunfight
store
happens,
instead.
it
I think
happens,
that
but
I think there needs to be at
beginning,
least
we're here for the
4
RP,
lawmen
that's what we
in the
really
county to
want.
rob the bank, but like 2 for the general store or
Can
something.
I
Just try doing that.
What's
add a note on something? So there's been a situation with hogtying that I'm sure a lot of people can elaborate a little bit about how broken it is in certain situations where it doesn't really allow us to RP much because, say, law just instantly hogties us, so we can't even get our guns out because it's pretty much canceling all of our actions the moment they hogtie us. And then trying to break out barely gives us enough time. So I don't know if anybody would agree, but if there could be a suggestion or something to eliminate hog tying, unless it's like if you tackle somebody instead of just trying to, you know, swing the rope and try to get them, especially when they turn around on you and start
See,
shooting.
the cops are trained on that though.
I mean, I somewhat agree with that statement. I believe that is a 50-50 on the criminal and the law side of things because there's a lot of
I didn't
gunplay over
take it as you.
roleplay lately.
I didn't take it was
So
complaining or anything. But
it's
yeah.
like for
I
the
do agree,
law, that
like,
is the only chance they get to roleplay is if they hogtie somebody straight away.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of people that, you know, not saying this pointed at you or anything, but there is a lot of people that complain about not getting roleplay. But then I watch the scenes that they were a part of, and it's because they favor shooting everybody down instead of
Yes.
playing out the
Aqua,
scene and
very
actually
good
role
point.
playing. So, while yes, I agree from the criminal side, because I play a criminal, law are very happy with lassos, and yet so are criminals are very happy with guns. So
Yeah.
it's we have to work together on that one. And at the minute, it's a very 50-50 battle right now. So
that or just remove reinforced lassos.
no, because it still happens with normal lassos as well. So it's not the fact that people have got normal lassos to reinforced lassos. There's no difference.
Oh,
You're still going to run into the same issue.
And you're not supposed to break out of the lassos anyway once you get lasso,
Yes.
reinforced or not. So
Yeah, I
That
can
is
agree with
also
that
in the rules.
as well.
So, you know, at the minute, it's 50-50. Like, you can't have one without the other. Once criminals start favoring roleplay over gunplay, then I'm sure the law will be a lot less lasso happy. So, you can't have one without the other, unfortunately.
Okay,
So-
hopefully that makes my screen a little bit better for everyone who is looking at my screen. I really apologize.
It's okay.
I will no value life when it comes down to the criminal starting to shoot back and they're still trying to lasso.
Yeah, so it also comes down to the type of criminal RP that you provide, right? So like I know that before my character made some organic decisions within RP to change, my character in specific was really and the
I
people
would say
that I was
Ewok. A
with
lot of people
very
are
similar. If anyone has ever interacted with
have
the
a lot
firm,
of
knows exactly
anxiety
what
when
I'm
it comes to
saying
the new law
here.
book.
It's a lot
So
more
that might
yapping
be
than
the
it is
issue
more
right now,
shooting,
but
you know,
we're
or
working
getting
on
into a
that.
fight.
So.
Now, is there people within that group who are obviously much more bold than the others, yes, right? Like if you're a hardened criminal, you would snap back, like so that's what you would do. But to just criminal law RP, it's always the most biggest
Yeah, it's
talked
not.
about
It's not.
discussions
It's not
because
more or
like
less
even though I feel like here we've
an
come to a
update
pretty
for
good
the
understanding of
crim
what used to
side
be
of
really
things.
really
Glitch.
really
It's
really
the
really
it's the
bad,
law
and it's gotten
update.
a
The
lot
new law
better.
update. Like,
But it used to be really
if you
bad
remember,
here, and
I
it
don't
has
even think
improved
I'll be
quite
able
a
to see
bit.
it
And I
unless
think
you
that
have a
just
law
comes from
character.
both
But
sides.
yeah,
And
I'll
then
try to. My YouTube channel has it. Nick, if you're still here, post that up, and it's in there. It says the new law book and all that stuff. So you're right, Glitch, and there's people that don't do that.
She cut out there for everybody.
Yeah, did we lose her? Or am
Yeah,
I
I think we
bugging out?
lost her.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Jimmy Glass.
I'm just trying to sell my drugs without being bothered by law, dude.
Everyone having an audio bug today?
Yeah.
Yeah, the server's still under attack, so it's a bandwidth issue. We're gonna have
Santana,
choppy
can
voice.
I comment on that real quick if you don't mind? From a criminal standpoint, for like drug sales, like
Uh-huh.
respectfully, like 9 out of 10 scenes that involve a drug deal, the law is just getting crap RP. You know what I'm saying? Like
I know.
very rarely are people given law like any sort of scene. It's just strictly like,
thank you, Jimmy.
Here's law, let's run or shoot. You know, but you try dressing up or something because cops will role play anything out, man. The cops here, just off my experience, Napu can speak on this or whoever else is a cop. If you give them good RP, they will literally give you the benefit of the doubt
and let you go.
Yeah, they'll give you free passes, man. Like not free passes. I don't want to say that.
To an extent, you got to be good.
Yeah. Like, if you just provide them with like just above average RP than what they get, because like realistically,
so bribe them. Got it.
No.
Stop it.
I'm kidding.
No. But like,
my YouTube channel for me.
You got to think like, how often do these guys deal with like shit RP? I'm just gonna call it for what it is. Like 8 times out of 10, they're dealing with fucking assholes and people who just mauled. So if you give them just an inch of like good RP, they're gonna hook you up always. This is my perspective.
I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them are gonna do that.
Coming from Sin, from playing that for 3 years, the cops here are way better.
Thank you.
So,
what a
I
fucking
can
statement.
Definitely say that.
Why would you torture yourself like that?
Because it was 3 years and.
Okay, let's not dog on other servers, all right? While we're in here, we're here to discuss the changes in the rules to make it better for everybody. Let's not go dogging on other servers.
Okay.
Yeah. So what Jim was saying there, it comes back to you can't have one without the other. Once Crim RP gets better, like law will get better. Law are trying their best. I mean, law.
Thanks, Nick.
At the end of the day, deal with the most shitters in the county than anybody else. They always see the front of it because shitters come in and target law because that's the first people they see.
Yeah, you walk like it's good to do that, but when you do that and then four other people write in and do that, which your group is not
providing more
by any means like that,
and
right?
like
you guys know how to take the L when it happens.
You provide them a good
There are some times you guys kind of think it's fucked up. Well, not you guys.
Know their
Carl probably thinks it's kind of.
He's
like, come on, Napu, come on, Napu, Napu, come on, man.
There'll be a little bit of leniency because you're actually role playing instead of RDO. So just remember that. Glenwood, as a county, we do favor role play over gunplay. So just keep that in mind. Like, we are here for longevity. We're here for a while. We're not going anywhere. There's no need to do these quick shootout stories and stuff like that. Role play, create a story, develop yourself, not just as a character, but just as a role player. So just do it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, make a connection with the law if you can.
Yeah, I mean
coming
sorry,
from
I
law
lost
to there.
internet. There's a severe thunderstorm rolling through my area, so I don't know if anybody can hear me, but
Yeah, we can.
yeah, so I might be in and out. I just lost internet and then I'm back up. So
yeah, you walk like the past county we were in, right? We were in a shootout with Virginia. It was like really good.
That comes back
Y'all did like a boat robbery or some shit from
there's been so many fucking
Blackwater.
people that I have met IC that honestly have given me some of the best interactions I've had in a lot of counties I've been in.
Yeah.
You
There
know,
you go,
truly,
Hypo.
truly, truly. I'm really sad that a lot of you haven't gotten to experience my Come to Jesus meetings. I've been super busy, but normally meetings like this are very common for me. Like I'll
Yeah, they
just
were
hop
good,
in here and
man. I
talk to
liked
people
it.
if there's a situation that occurs. Like I'm much more of a talker than a typer. So I'm gonna get back around to being able to do that with people more, so people can actually voice their concerns and feeling like they do have a word in things, because you guys do. In fact, you know, Jimmy and his people, and a couple of
I thank y'all
other
for sticking
official
around too,
organizations are a
because
big reason that it's kind of been
can't
shaped
really do
more.
shit in
We've
the
sat
county if you
down for
can't speak to
5-6
each other,
hours at
you
a
know.
time
So it's
and
good to
looked
kind
at
of go
how
over
we
the
want to do things
rules,
and how it's really going to
kind of
promote this
understand them
the
better,
best.
ask questions. So if you
And
guys have a
honestly,
question, I mean, y'all should
kudos to
probably be
them
in here,
for
honestly, and
truly
it's in the
sitting
main
down and being
newspaper in
like,
the
hey, like
saloon.
we
So
need to do this. Like, let me help you, and we're gonna do this. And they've had full free reign of it since. So I did change this right here. You can't identify people when they are wearing a mask. So I got rid of the whole vocal thing, and I'll tell you why. I play a
some
criminal
people
character,
don't change their
and
voice.
I find it very bullshit that a lawman can't identify me by my voice. Okay. If you are putting genuine effort into another character to change your voice, or you're doing a robbery and you change your voice, right, as any criminal would want to, it would be different, right? You know, I have had some funny fucking scenes with people where they have changed their entire voice to like
It's an effort
while
thing.
being on the same character
You
to do
should
a
be
criminal
rewarded
scene.
for the effort you
So
put
I
in
did
for your
change it that
RP.
you can't identify people when wearing a mask, but they can identify you by your voice. The law has to have some win. They have to be able to identify people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're running around with a mask on, how does that make your voice not heard? Okay, I can't see you, but I can hear you. Like, I know who you are. I just can't fucking see you, right? But they can identify you by your voice. So if you're out in town and you're a wanted criminal and you're just jibbing jabbing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just yelling and shit
We all
like
know
that,
who
and a
those
lawman
are.
happens to hear you, that's your fault. You
Hypo,
didn't take.
also, I would feel like it would be kind of like a reward, right, for making an effort, you know, to kind of change
Oh, for
the
sure.
way you sound, you know. So if even though I know because of the cadence of your voice that it's you, right, Napu's not going to be like, oh, I know who that is, even though they changed your voice. He's going to be like, I don't know who the fuck that is, you know. So
Oh,
it
yeah,
is
for
make
sure.
it should be like a reward if you do make that effort to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever heard Angry Elmo.
In clothing?
But shout out to Angry Elmo.
Almoji.
Bless that man.
What up?
So like there's been people that I've been with that, you know, that I've RP'd with that sound how they normally sound, and then all of a sudden we're in a big robbery and he's Australian, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Who is
I didn't
that?
even know you could sound Australian, and now
Yep.
we're all laughing.
Yep.
You know, I've been in scenes myself, so you got to
That's
put
a good
genuine effort in
statement.
to change your voice. So lawmen can now identify you by your voice. Everyone's voice is distinct. If you don't make an effort to change the way that your cadence of your voice or putting a genuine effort into doing that, then yeah. Plus they kind of deserve that win. Like you can't just run around and never get caught. So obviously illegal activity in Guarmo is still the same. I did change this, so you can bait someone. However, it needs to have a valid RP reason and a planned scenario. What this means, let me just elaborate on this. You can bait someone like lawmen. Lawmen can bait criminals. However, it needs to be a genuine RP scene with a planned scenario, right? And I'm not talking like, oh, let's bait the lawmen down to the riverbank and just shoot them up as soon as they get here. No, 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 no. I'm talking like the lawmen are like, man, we've been chasing this fucking criminal for 2 weeks. 2 fucking weeks, right? And they're like, but I know where he hides out at. We got an informant, right? We know we got an informant. We know where they're hiding. So they bait him, and the lawmen get him. That's a lawman win. That's a classic law tactic, and it's a classic win. So I did change it because you can. That is just life. You can bait people. However, what is not allowed is baiting someone into a situation and then just shooting them as soon as they arrive. That is not actually baiting, and that's not RP. That's just wanting a gunfight with somebody. I think everybody here can agree with that. But I did want to give that because there's been a lot of scenes that could have worked really well, but because of that, it didn't. It would have been a really cool scene. And so
I am
kind of
of let go of that.
I'm not
one.
staff in
It
Glenwood.
was like,
I would say I'm more of an ambassador. I really like the
with
county.
the investigation department
So,
coming in with the law, I
yeah, I
would
remember
like
you,
them,
Alex.
them to be able to actually trap people. That's what they do. They trap.
So we're just going
people,
over
they
rules
get
because the
people,
server's kind of
that's how
getting
they
DDoS right
operate.
now, and
So if we
nobody
take
can
it
really
away
talk
from
to
them,
each other
they're not.
because
What's the point of
they're
them
almost
being
at the
there?
max
They should be able to
DDoS
trap
limit.
people and arrest people.
So would a
Same with
good example
criminals.
be
That's the law.
like, I'm failing my drug
This is a
sales on
community
purpose
meeting,
to
so
get
you
Law
can
to
just hop
come
in the
over
saloon
to where
and
I'm
mute
at,
up
and then
if you
have a
want.
group waiting out so we can grab Law, kidnap him, and then use him as hostages for a bank robbery. Would that be a good example?
Yes, but there is the next section that says hostages and kidnapping. You cannot take more than one law enforcement or medical personnel hostage.
Gotcha.
So that's where there's other rules that like help with that. But yeah, essentially like if
So.
you set up a scene and you were like, all right guys, we're gonna go into Annsburg, we're gonna do some drug sales and we're gonna stake it out. We're gonna wait. We want the law to come to Annsburg. So they're staking it out. They want to see how many law are around, how many law are gonna come up to Annsburg and really respond. They get there, the group figures out
All
that
right, man.
there's
Well, thanks for
6
stopping by.
lawmen, Lemoyne lawmen
Appreciate
around. They
you.
all came to Annsburg. They know where they're at, right? And so they're kind of staking it out, and they come down, and they're having an RP conversation with the lawmen. They're trying
Appreciate
to
you,
maybe
brother.
get
Always.
information or whatever it might be. The lawmen know they're outnumbered, and they kind of baited them to come there, right? That's allowed. The vice versa. The lawman can bait the criminal. The lawman can set up a really good scene, by saying whoever they may have hostage, right? Say they got somebody, they were able to arrest somebody. The lawman can use that person as bait for the other criminals to come, right? So the lawman can be funny, right? And say Sheriff Napu is like, I know, Sheriff Napu
Stop using me,
someone,
Hypo. God damn
has
it.
gotten somebody in arrest and knows that there is a particular person in mind that in doing so, they would instantly come there. That's what he wants. He knows that he might have the upper hand if he comes there. So Sheriff Napu goes down to the telegram station and sends a telegram to this person and says, I may have what you want, right? That is baiting. But he's baiting because he's like, I may have the advantage.
Because it's
Sheriff
RP
Napu
sense.
doesn't really know until the person gets there, right? If he's alone or not. But it is baiting, but it is baiting for a scenario. Like it's a true RP scenario that's about to play out. That is allowed. So it's gonna work both ways, hopefully, and hopefully people don't get too fucking crazy with it. But that's how it's essentially supposed to be. That's my idea in mind for it. So the hostages and kidnapping, this was revised a little bit, so you cannot take. This was always the same. You cannot take more than one law enforcement or medical personnel hostage.
So this
you
has been
can't take them
revised.
hostage while they're on duty, but you can only take one. You can't take all of them. I think it's always been that way. You cannot fake a hostage. Someone you know are in your group, so can't fake a hostage. You cannot pay a player to be a hostage. If you are hogtied, you cannot break free of your ties unless, for example, your captor / me loosened ropes. Otherwise, you'll have to wait at least 5 minutes before you can break free. Robberies and heists, still the same. So the 4 people for a bank robbery, the 3 people for store robberies. I've had a couple of people ask me why this hasn't changed, although we moved it to matching now, to where the opposing parties can match each other. The reason that we haven't changed that is because in the law SOP, they have to arrive to a bank robbery with 6 lawmen, and 2 have to stay back. The 2 have to stay back to get the hostages when you leave. They have to do crowd control, and then they have to get the hostages and make sure they're okay and get like written statements. So the 4, it's essentially it's a 4-on-4. It's just they have to arrive with the 6 to be able to have 2 to take care of the hostages, and then the crowd control and all that kind of stuff. So then essentially you're 4-on-4. Same thing with the store robbery. So I did elaborate on the 4. So RH4. So you can only commit one bank, general store, or train robbery every 60 minutes. It is you and your group's responsibility to keep track of time. So there's 3 hours in between. There's 3 hours, about 3 hours or so, minus with the 30 minutes and the 15 within each restart. So essentially, you could do 2 per restart. Would any RP group really want to do that? No, probably not, because it would be your luck that you would get caught the next time that you did it after you got out the first time. Plus, you'd want like a real cool down period. You wouldn't want to be popping out after they would probably already let the rest of the departments that there was obviously a bank robbery.
You cannot commit or coordinate multiple heists at the same time or with separate groups. So if you're doing one, you can only have one. You can't have someone else doing the same thing at the same time somewhere else. You can't do that. That's a little too much. So you cannot rob someone if that's all still the same. If the player steals your horse, that's the same. I did revise chain robberies a little bit. So chain robberies, back-to-back robbing people is not allowed. You must wait 45 minutes between each player robbery. So I know prior it was 2 hours. But it was longer than the bank robbery, and I was like, I feel like 45 minutes is pretty good. If you're doing a good player robbery scene, it's going to take you about 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes for that scene to be done. So if you're doing it properly, that would essentially be enough time, right? So you cannot rob the same person within 12 hours. You may not pocket wipe a player, and they must be left with food and water. That's still the same. All of that is still the same. Dumping the body is still allowed. I did change RH11. You may not kill someone after robbing them unless they have given you a good reason to do so. The examples of good reasons to do so: being non-compliant
Come
and
back
disrespectful
and bragging.
IC to yourself or like others. So like they are being basically non-compliant and disrespectful to you and your group while they are outnumbered or guns at their heads. Yeah, you might get killed. All right? Like that's just killed, quote unquote, right? You're gonna
Agree.
get hurt. Because essentially, right, like if you were in that scene, you wouldn't. Some people like to yap and yap and yap, and the yap 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 causes them consequences if you're fucking around with the wrong group, right? That's just real life. You wouldn't walk up to a mafia in real life and just call them an asshole, would you? You wouldn't. So I did change that, and then attempted
in VL
to
too.
escape.
So
Those are just some examples of that kind of stuff. Dumping the bodies is still good. Everything else is still the same. The crime around restart will be the same. The player
question around dumping
initiation.
bodies. Sorry, Bill.
What's up? No, you're good.
Does it still have to be dumped where a doctor can get them, or can you throw them in the middle of the river?
So dumping a body is allowed. However, they must be reachable by a player doctor.
Good. Yeah, just.
And then there's like examples of places where they could, and then if they're not,
I have a question.
What's up?
This may be a little late, but it goes back to the hostage for banks. What if you just met someone and you just spoke to them like, "Hey, do you want to help me go rob a bank?"
No.
They're not technically your friend. You just met them, and you don't pay them. But what if they agree with that, like just being a hostage?
That essentially would be like that would. That would
Big
kind
cat
of fall into it,
in the
right?
motherfucking
So
house.
that,
The county's kind of fuck right now, so we just sitting in the meeting, going over the rules for everybody, so they know.
So if you're getting a hostage, I'll in a perfect example of getting a hostage, right? And I'm sorry to
DDoS,
anyone
and
who's
nobody
had to
can hear each other.
experience
Really,
being
it's
one of
really
my
everybody's got
hostages for a
frogs, and
bank.
everybody's got a sore
There was a
throat basically in
woman
county. There's a fucking
Rhodes
virus
Bank
going
one
around
time,
RP
and we
wise,
were
but
doing an
otherwise they're getting
all-female
DDoS. So
and she was writing her telegrams, and we were walking in talking about writing telegrams, and we waited her to get done. We were sassing her up. We was firing her up, telling her she looked good, right? And then we put a gun to her head and said, "I'm gonna need you to put your hands up. Sorry about the chat. It's gonna have to end." Right? So if you're really taking a hostage for a situation, they're not your friend, and you're not going to treat them not like your friend. You're not going to ask them to just walk with you. Now, once you have them in hog ties, or once you've got them in your own custody, at that point, like obviously you don't have to be a dick to them. I know I've had a couple good scenes with people, but essentially you wouldn't just walk up to someone and be like, "Oh yeah, you want to rob a bank with me? You want to be my hostage?" That's not how that would work. If you were a hostage, right, you would be taken against your will. So I'm finding you on the side of the road, buddy boy. Don't be traveling alone, because I'm gonna get you. Because we've done that to a couple people. So sorry anyone that's been in that, but
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's normally how that would work.
don't worry, Napu's off duty. He's not even getting paid right now.
The backpacks
He's not trying to extort the government.
So backpacks are a separate inventory to the player's inventory. So all can be robbed in the same scenario, but never stolen. Items stolen are limited to yada yada. What I will say for the backpacks, and I'll elaborate on this because someone asked me earlier. I'll elaborate that you can steal the person's backpack if it's in their inventory. Like if it's in their inventory, you can take that shit. Like you can rob it, right? You can take their backpack. They can get another backpack.
It's not like backpacks are this sacred thing. I've seen like 80 people wander around with a damn book bag bigger than them. So, you know, you can get another backpack. It can be stolen off of you. You know, that's just, if it's in your inventory, someone takes it off of you, then okay. And I'll elaborate to say that if you have the backpack on your person, because obviously at that point it's a separate inventory and it's going to be attached to you, then it can't be, right? Because it's already, but they can, you know, then you would comply and put the backpack on the ground and they would go through it and all that kind of stuff. So I'll elaborate on that.
I'm surrounded by assholes.
So I'll elaborate on that. So I haven't finished this. I haven't like made it look like this yet, but I'm still going over it. So I already did all of this. Sorry about that. Like I said,
Wait, I have a question.
what's up?
How many people can you rob? Can you rob like 3 people at this or 4 people at the same time or what?
So you can take 3 people
Ooh.
hostage for a robbery. However, you cannot
That's right. That's
do
right.
like back-to-back robbing on the person. There's already there was a portion for that. If not, I think I copied and pasted it already. But yeah, so essentially, it's right here. So only one criminal per criminal party can rob a player in a scene. Once a player, individual, or hostage has been robbed, they cannot be robbed by another criminal present for that scene. So if you take 3 people hostage for a robbery, they have to be robbed by 3 separate people of your group.
Correct.
So you can't just back-to-back rob the same person 6 times. Like, you cannot do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
So if you
So you're one
grab 3
person can't
people and
hog
there's
tie
6
3
of
people.
you, that means only 3
of them can rob them.
hostages.
Like she's just saying
You
right
can't
now.
just have
So,
everyone have a fucking go at their pockets.
correct.
That's not how that. That's not really at that point. That's just, you know, if you were RPing it out, you would have one designated person
And you
that
don't
already
wanna-
probably knows what the fuck
you
they're
don't
looking
never
for,
want to
which is why
pocket
they
wipe
robbed
anybody.
you, because they saw
right?
what they wanted
Like,
already.
there's
So they
shit like
already
the
know what
beans and
they're going
toast and all
for.
that
But if you're
bullshit.
already
Like,
digging around
don't.
in someone's pockets, that's just
No,
little
one person
much.
cannot
So
rob
no,
3.
you can't do that.
One person can rob 1 if they hog tie 3, but one person cannot
So
rob all 3.
evidence locker robberies are still the same.
And you shouldn't
So
be pocket
evidence
wiping anybody.
lockers
Like
are
that's
still
a
scene approval
that's a
type
big
thing.
like.
A big part of that is there's a there's a lot of people who tried to abuse that.
And
in the
I am
beginning,
going to
so we
mention
kinda had
something
to
else
reel back
after a
on that
robbery.
because a lot of people were
Actually,
just like robbing these evidence lockers like back to back, and then they would be empty, and then it was just like this whole thing. So all of the rules for the evidence lockers are still the same.
and you might not like it.
Train robberies
There,
are
Big
still
Cat,
a thing.
but I'm gonna do it
So
because
I
there needs to be a
probably
time
will
limit on it.
change the you may only rob a train once every 4 OOC days. I'm probably going to change
It's the
that.
changing clothes after a robbery.
To probably like
immediately
once
after.
every other day. So once every like 2 days, 4 days is a bit much. So yeah, if all the rules. I will change this for the train robberies. So I'm gonna change that for the 6 criminals and to the 6 lawmen. I will be changing chain robberies to a match to match. So if the criminals have 10 and the law have 10, then perfect.
It's too great.
If whatever it might be.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Because I know that there's been plenty of lawmen who have arrived to scenes and they just don't have enough
What
lawmen.
up, Crown?
If they're
Coming
going
in, dude.
against a good criminal group, the criminal group knows to give them some grace because there's only 2 of them. But essentially, I will be changing the train robbery, to be a match versus match type thing. Because train robberies were a big fucking thing back in 1885.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna
sure
try
a
to
lot of y'all
clarify
have
right now.
looked at it. But yeah, train robberies were a huge fucking thing. And when they did happen, it was a massive amount of people going on. You were like, it was just crazy. So I will be changing that to a versus a versus. It'll be matching numbers instead of 6 versus 6.
Got a question, Hypo.
What's up?
So, doing a robbery, say a bank or a train, right? Is there or is there not a time limit on when they can change clothes, or a criminal can change clothes after said robbery? Because the reason I ask, right, is I've been a part of a couple ones, right, where I kind of knew OOC that was a person, but I couldn't do anything I see because they went and changed all their clothes like 3 minutes after it happened. So I just want to make sure, is there not something that is a set rule where you have to wait so many minutes before you can change your clothes?
There is not a set rule for that.
Okay.
In fact, I don't think anyone's ever mentioned that to me. It's definitely something that I'm totally looking into, like,
discussing about. I don't see how that could be an issue to kind of give the law a chance to maybe catch the person. I also know that in the case of, I think it's one of those iffy subjects, kind of, because some people, I know certain criminals who refuse to change because they want the chase, and then I know criminals that do change like quite not long after the scene has taken place, just because that's how they operate their character. So I have no issues. Kind of, if you want to open up like a founder, and you and
Yeah,
I
I
can
don't
kind of
I don't
talk
want
that
to
over.
say it's an issue. I just didn't know if that was kind of like a, like, come on. Like, so you run around Saint Denis through the alleyways and nobody sees you, and you run into the clothing shop and change into your, I don't know, your butcher outfit, you know, and then now
I think a half hour would be fine. Sorry, guys.
I would even say 15 minutes, to be honest.
I would actually like to throw a suggestion. Yeah, a timer on that would be nice. So be it like you're allowed to change anything, like take off your coat, shirt, and everything to kind of like throw off, whoever. But as for like going into a shop and changing right away, should have a limit.
Like after 30 minutes from robbery start, would that be fair?
So what is the agreement? Everybody say yeah, no.
So I would say a hard 15 minutes from
15 minutes,
when you leave the bank or train or whatever, right?
heist.
Like
Yeah,
or heist, right? Per heist, a hard 15 minutes. Like, I don't care if you take off your coat, right? But going into the clothing store and changing into a dress, when you were wearing, you know what I mean? Like, it's just
Yeah, I can agree
It's like
with
you're
that.
It's almost,
completely
it's a
fine
little
with
power
whatever
gamey
you
almost.
have
so.
on character to like completely just take off your coat, mask, hat, all that. But as for like going into a shop and actually changing, should actually have a limit.
Yeah,
Okay, so are we
think
good
so.
with you cannot change your outfit until 15 minutes after the robbery has taken place?
Well, the initial running part. So as soon as you start running, I think that 15-minute timer should count. But then it's
I
kind
don't
of up
see
to
an
that.
issue with that.
Yeah, it's kind
When
of up to the
pursuit
individual
starts, would
too.
that be
You
the
know what I
right
mean?
wording?
Well, it could be 30 minutes to a start, but I've been in bank robberies where it's taken 40 minutes for people to crack the safe.
Hey, I don't want
you're
to
right,
hear
Joe.
that. Okay? I don't want to hear that. All right. That was my first time. Give me a break.
I didn't name any names.
He said I didn't say your name.
Called yourself out there.
So
Oh,
you
he
cannot
just sold
change your
himself
outfit
out.
until 15 minutes after the robbery has taken place and you are on the run. So
I think
after
15
the
minutes
15
is fair,
of you
Big
being
Cat.
on the
I
run,
mean,
then you can change your outfit.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Yeah.
That sounds fair for everybody. I think that's
Yeah.
that was good. That was good, Napu. Look at you. Yes, I love the
I got a question
inclusion.
about perfume.
hey, you're gonna put a target on Napu's head, okay? I don't. Yeah, okay.
Oh, you got one.
I'll be seeing you in city.
What'd you say, Jimmy?
I got a question about dumping. I wanted to take you back real quick. Like, we'll throw people in bushes or whatever, but like ocean dumping, for example, what's the 5M term? We only do that when like the scene calls for it. If I watch somebody forget it, are you guys eliminating that altogether? No.
So this has been in here for a while. So for me,
Problem is though,
in
coats
my
change
thought
shirts.
process, you know,
I mean,
if you
how
fuck
about
up enough and you get dumped into the ocean,
how about
I feel like you should
change
just
your
have
outfit?
to take it. But there's a
Take
lot
off
of
your
people
coat,
who had a
right?
problem with that.
Take off your
Well,
coat.
doing it with like shit RP for sure.
But
like,
going into a
Yeah, because
clothing
people
store
were doing like shit
is what
RP
I'm
with
what
it,
I'm
and they were
you know
just
what
like
I'm talking
dumping
about. Going into a clothing store or
like no
because if you get
RP,
caught
but, like,
without a shirt on, I'm like,
so
hey, put your
that's the
shirt on,
reason we
and
had
then
to
I'm like,
put
yep,
it in
there you go, right there. You know.
My
So-
thought is you allow one to do it, they're all gonna
know
do it.
that,
They're gonna make up a
decided to
reason to do it every time.
Yeah, he's right too.
There was a certain individual who decided to yeet someone off a very, 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 very high fucking train track bridge, and there was
That's
an
the
individual
best.
who was kind of upset. So, yeah, not calling any names, but
Definitely not me.
So we're just
we had to put that there because the doctors said that it
we're
was
just
kind
we're
of
trying
like
to help
no
the community.
medical RP
Like
on
I'm
their
by no
part
means
because they
staff,
literally couldn't
right?
reach them. They would get the
I'm
alert.
sure if I
but,
applied, I would.
I got you.
What are they
Okay,
gonna
I don't want to deal with that though. I want to concentrate on
when the scene
streaming.
calls for it,
and
again, you're not gonna if you're doing RP the right way. You're
I
not
want,
gonna
but I
fucking
do want to
dump
be
somebody
kind of an
every day,
ambassador
right?
to the
It's gonna
community.
take a while
That's
to
kind of
build
in
up,
my
you know
heart,
what I'm
right?
saying?
Like I've really
But,
enjoyed this county. I
like,
enjoyed the last
whatever
county we
you
were
guys
in
put.
100%. It just
That's
I think they let the shit show go on for too long, right? And it kind of ruined it, right? And it's kind of bringing it in here because some of those people were in here,
Is
right?
there any
So
rules about just people making serial
killers, cannibals, and people who like mass murder people.
So that's what I want to avoid in this county. If and I can help
So
out in
we've
any
never
way,
had
like
any of
I want
those.
to help out.
Knock on wood, knocking on the wood on my desk. We've never had any people like that. Luckily, yet. In fact, we've never. I don't think the law.
But now
since
you
we've
can
had a
be
law department
identified
here has
by
actually
your
had a true
voice if you're wearing a
investigation
mask.
of like a serial killer or a crazy
So
person.
I don't know if you were in here, Big Cat, for
They
that,
haven't
but
been
just because you
blessed
wear a
with that
mask
kind of
and
fun.
you don't change your voice, we can
what do you have in
identify you
mind,
based off the
Dream?
voice.
What are you trying to say there?
Mm-hmm.
I think Dream has Dream is cooking. Dream is cooking.
So you're gonna get rewarded. I don't mean to interrupt them and what they're saying, but it sounds like this banter right now. But
Like, what's the protocol for that? Like, what kind of like?
Provide good RP.
So you're gonna get rewarded
The rules somewhere just to be a good.
for changing your
Don't
voice.
be an asshole.
That's what that means.
Pauline.
So if
You know,
law
for
hears
me,
somebody
like,
else
if
completely
you
different, even
decide
though
to
your
play a
voice
serial
count,
killer
your voice
character
cadence
and, like,
sounds the
you
same,
actually
right?
truly play
What they're
someone that's a
talking
serial
about
killer,
is
right?
like
Like,
you're gonna get rewarded for trying to RP is not
down or
sounding like your
something like that,
character.
but, like, you know, you
And I know a lot of
truly,
people are
like, you know,
uncomfortable with that
like
because
RP a serial killer, it
honestly,
would be a very long
it could
drawn
mean that
investigation out with the law department,
a
which
lot of
would
people have
provide some
problems
really
with
good
that
RP for them.
personally
So
because I think they think it's
you
stupid,
know, if you
right? They're
RP
like,
it
oh,
out
that's so
and you
stupid. They
truly do
shouldn't
the
be able
good
to see me.
RP
But
with it, then
now
we will probably never hear
you're
from
gonna
you
get
except for in county, and then be like, this bitch is crazy.
Oh
Y'all
my
heard about
god!
that
But
girl? She over
but
there
the
eating
biggest
people and
part,
shit.
the biggest part about the whole killing people and being a serial killer, is that you kind of do have to play it realistically. Because if you don't, then it's just gonna be
should be a
a
ticket
bunch of
perma,
dead bodies.
honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just RDM, but you have to do some kind of initiation.
Yeah, like you would have to leave like a type of trail. Like actually, I had a really good experience with someone who did play a female character who was insane. And what she used to do is she used to leave like tidbit trails basically for the law to actually investigate. She became quite a menace in the best way possible because she would essentially take people and she would take them to certain places that only she went to, and the law actually had to investigate the places. Like there was 3 different places in the county she would take people to hurt, like to
Yeah, that
either
Betsy
talk,
voice though.
what she called talk to them, right? And
Dude,
the
I was
law
just looking
actually
through
had
those
to
clips
like
the
like she
fucking
would
other
leave
day,
stuff on
man.
like actually on the
And
road that would be
I
like
wish I would have kept them,
you
but
know, it
I
would
was trying to
say
clear
like
space.
there's been a
So
bloodied shirt left on the ground, it's been tattered, and you know eventually a little trail is on, right, like along wherever you would see another thing pop up, and it's like, oh, you see droplets of blood leaving up to the house. Like it was genuine RP, so the law actually got to investigate and figure out what was going on, and then they caught her, and then they called her crazy and all this
good.
kind of stuff, and then she ended up choking a lawman out,
Sea
and then she
drive
ended
cleared
up
space.
dying.
So
But you know, like it was a whole thing. Like it was a really good RP. That's the only time I've ever seen it. God bless
yeah, I
your soul.
cleared it out. I wish I would have
But
posted
in
it to
cases that
YouTube,
they're
man.
wanting to maybe do that, would it be
One
better to
time I
try and reach
fucking
out
literally
to you
broke
guys
character.
and say, hey, here's what I'm wanting to do?
So I had to like,
Yeah,
oh,
if you
give me a
wanna
minute.
open up a
Give me a
foundation
minute.
Yeah, so if you
I was like,
want
okay,
to,
you know, the robbers
and you're
outside. And they're
worried
like,
about maybe
okay.
someone saying that you're
They asked you to
RDMing
blow him. What are you
someone,
doing? Knock was like,
anything like
gonna
that,
suck
or
that
even
dick.
just kind of making sure that you don't get in trouble when someone's tracking that, you're more than welcome to open up a headgov ticket and let us know. So if we see your
Yeah, it
name
was
pop up for something,
probably
we
one
can
of
be
my
like,
top
hey,
5
like
moments all time.
that was kind of a genuine RP scene.
Dude, it
Her
was
character's just kind of fucking cuckoo. Like, you know what I mean? Like we can kind of vouch for that end. Same thing like with people who are corrupt lawmen or whatever, they have to do the same. So when, you know, if a situation arises, we can be like, well, it's already discussed out of character, but you know, so you're more than welcome to do that, and I'm sure any of us are more than welcome to talk with you about that and all that kind of stuff, and you know, help you out where we can, and if not, make some rules that would kind of help you out. So maybe you, you know, that kind of stuff. We're always willing to work with people. We're always so. Yeah, so
Well,
crime
Napu
around
to
restart
die
is still
here
the same.
thirst.
Nothing will change there. That'll always be the same. Initiation is still going to be the same. So especially this is the biggest one that we've been having issues with lately.
Oh yeah, so Crown, it kind of just talked
So
about
this
it.
one is
It's
obviously going to stay the same, but
you gotta
initiation
still initiate.
must be clear and blunt.
It's like what
The
we're doing
biggest
right
thing,
now,
I think, was it
right?
on
But
here?
if you're a serial killer, it must be known if you get caught that your character's gonna be permanent.
Okay, I
Right.
did remove that part from it. So,
So
oh yeah, so
I think it should
I'll
be a ticket. Hey, I'm gonna
so
RP a serial killer,
after you
but
or the other parties
they gotta
initiate them
do
with each
this
other, you
player
have 10 minutes
initiation
to
thing like they should.
initiate a scene. So I will be removing the 10 minutes from that just because initiation is initiation. There's not really a time limit on that.
Yeah,
So
I agree with
I
that too.
will be kind of rephrasing these because some people have had some problems with it. So some this says you may only shoot the person or persons you have initiated on, but your group may join in without saying anything if they were with you when you initiated. But then it says snipers must be announced in order to join the scene without proper hearing range. You may not attack, or this one will obviously stay the same. So I will probably elaborate more on these and kind of not dumb it down,
So
but
I
kind of
think
just make it
the
more
sniper
clear and
option
concise
is
on what it's
severely
asking. So
underused by
obviously,
criminal
you're
organizations.
only really going to shoot the people
Right?
that you
All you gotta do is
initiated
announce
on.
we got a sniper. Boom.
Your group may join in without saying
That
anything if they're with
person,
you when you initiated.
as
This
soon as
means
he's
like
seen some
if you're
action
an
go on,
official
he could be aiming at
organization,
somebody's
right, and you
head and
got
drop
an 8
1 to
versus
2
8 going
people.
on, and
So I
maybe some
think
of them
that for
haven't
crims
talked,
is
but they've been
being
there the whole time,
underused
then yeah, they were
highly.
there when you initiated, so they are initiated into the scene. The biggest thing that we've been having going is snipers. Snipers are allowed, and I will make that pretty clear with the initiation part. However, a good example of letting someone know is you don't have to be like, oh, we have snipers. No, you don't have to do that. For example, there's been scenes that I've been in where we've walked up to the law prior to initiation of a scene happening and being like, we've got 2 up high.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We got 2 up high. And they're like, what are you talking about? And we're like, leave it, I don't know, fucking use your brain, right? And then they finally get it that we're talking about 2 snipers. You just have to let them know. Or like if you're in a bank
I
robbery,
think it should
right?
be limited to 1 sniper.
And
though,
there's only
to be
3
honest.
of you in the bank. But you've got a sniper that's wherever, right? Along the trail that you plan to go on your escape route. And you know the law is going to follow you, right? They're going to give you that chase.
And this happened to
During
Lemoyne X.
your
She's talking about
negotiation,
our
you tell the
initiation.
lawman, I have 1 sniper. They're not, or I have 1
I'm not going to tell you who
waiting.
she is in character.
They're not here, but I have 1 waiting.
Their names
for you.
aren't changed to their names
Then
in
they
the
can be
newspaper
like,
for
okay,
discretion.
where are they at? You choose to tell them is on you, but you've already told them to make clear that you have someone waiting on them.
Mm-hmm.
But you do not have to tell them where they are at. You do not have to be like, oh yeah, I have one guy sitting in a tree right outside of Calico Hall in that little bush right there. You know what bush I'm talking about? No, you don't have to do that. You just have to let them know that there is someone that is essentially involved in that scene but isn't present in that scene at the moment. You are allowed to do that. You just have to let the law know so they can be aware. You got to give them that chance. You know, you can't just fucking gun them down and not let them know they're going to end up gunning down. And it's on them to be careful of their life and let their other lawmen know, like, hey, don't be gung-ho, guys. We got 1 out there, so be careful. Like, if you get shots from behind, then that is who they're talking about. So then the lawman might be like, ooh, let's stop chasing them and let's get the fucking sniper instead. You know, they got to figure that out. That's on them.
So yeah, so that clears a lot of things up. So they basically don't have to visually see you. It just
Yes.
Okay, cool.
They do not have to. Same thing goes for lawmen. Lawmen can do the same thing, or regular civilians, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is just normally more law and criminal kind of stuff. Lawmen can do the same thing. The lawman can tell the criminals in the bank, I got 2 up high right now. You got 2 of us down here. You got 2 up high. You do not have to tell the criminals where they're at.
Right, and there was a crew. There was a crew that did that pretty recently. I don't know, within the past 2 weeks, and it was really good. No tickets were put in, I believe, and none of that stuff. So it is doable. So
it is. You just got to make sure you communicate and RP it out right. So other than that, initiation will stay the same. So official. This was the most recent thing that we had put in which honestly, the best person to really speak on this would be Jimmy. So I'm gonna kind of let Jimmy speak about
let's go,
this.
Jimmy.
Be frank with you, because
spit the shit. Spit the shit.
His, input and all that kind of stuff. So
you want to lead it and I can touch on it, or you want me to read from your screen?
You can read from my screen. You can,
Jesus, throw me in the fucking spot here, lady. Fuck.
I'm sorry.
You got this.
All right, give me a second. Let me open up here. All right. So we're gonna start group role play.
Yeah.
All right, player limits. Everybody, player limits.
Jimmy's probably one of the, I would say, top 5
official criminal
RPers in the
organizations are
county,
limited to 24. That's the officials, guys. Unofficials 10. So we had issues. Can I speak on this, Hypo, or you want me to leave the staff stuff to you?
No, it's your topic to speak on.
So about
Listen up, chat. Listen up.
before we adjusted the gang stuff, you would have people come up the train 15, 20 deep, just not really providing good RP and just kind of treating this like war zone, right? So we had a pretty good discussion and we came out with these new rules here. So your unofficial groups are going to have 10 max.
Well, he's not
now
even
that's
staff.
not
he's an ambassador
permanent
as well.
That's just for you guys to get started, cement your story, provide good role play. Once you guys get noticed, you guys can apply and you guys get up to 24. Any questions, comments, concerns on that?
Nope.
No. Okay. Unofficial gangs must have an active unofficial post. Yes. So we're really cracking down on the gang RP because the gang RP, well, I'll just say this, the criminal RP as a whole was extremely subpar for a while. And, once you're pissing off lawmen, you're pissing off medics, it kind of pushes people apart. And we want to bring people in. We want to keep people here for the long term. So these changes kind of reflect that. Yep. So you want to have your post up. Guys, promote a story, man. Be individuals, right? You don't want to have 10 Mafias. You don't want to have 10 Johnsons. There's so much creative stuff. Role play. It's all about improv, on the fly, creative. You just slash me's. You can do anything. We have
spit the music, son.
You get the family up in Annesburg. You got the Johnsons, obviously. Firm. You got Sanderson. I don't think you're asleep right now. The Lemoyne Raiders. I know, people think they're from the story, but they're not. You have a lot of different crews doing a lot of different things. And just because there's not a script for you doesn't mean that your RP is hindered in any way. Just be creative. Like we almost had like a Clown King join. That was really cool. I like to see some more different stuff. You got Mexico there. That's a whole ass territory for you. If anybody wants to RP as like a cartel, Wade Brothers. Hey, I'm not gonna comment on nobody. You know what I mean? Just,
He's not trying to.
You got a cartel possibility. You have so much possibilities that it's just untapped. But since these new rules came to place, you have you got a lot of like creativity coming, which is good. You can't RP as a gang without a post, guys. That's just honestly insurance for the server. So we can't allow a group of 10 or just we can't allow a group running around not providing anything but shootouts, right? Nobody wants to deal with that. I don't want to deal with it. You don't want to deal with it. So that's why we just have these things in place to kind of ensure that the
It's
gang
almost
RP,
like-
I don't want to say criminal RP, but the gang RP
It's almost
will
like
be
there's a
upheld to a standard.
gang government,
All
right?
These guys have their roster. They have their story.
And
This is what we kind of can expect.
I think Jimmy.
Did you want to speak?
Jimmy,
I think that was
sorry,
Kane.
about it. I think Jimmy has been kind of.
Comment? Oh, okay.
I got
under his.
I got something to say.
Wing.
Go ahead, Garrett.
What if you're with me and my buddies? We're not a gang, but we are
Mhm.
criminals. What do you have to say about that? Because we're not trying to be a gang, and we do RP, and we do criminal stuff.
Then you're
Are
a
you-
gang, dude.
You don't have to be a gang. So like people, I know
I
when
think
we
he's-
first implemented these rules,
gangs.
people were like, "Oh, we need 10." You don't need 10. When I first started here, we had 3. It was me and 2 chicks, and like we just did our thing, and then we RP'd, we grew, and we RP with other gangs. But like, if you don't want to be a gang, I don't know what your story is in county, respectfully. Like, are you guys brothers? Like, are you guys?
yeah,
just
we're same family, brothers and cousins. There's only 3 of us, and basically, we've escaped from Sisika, and
I
Mm-hmm.
almost
we're kind of
think-
just like
yeah,
on
I
our
did say
own,
Jiminy.
out and about, kind of just doing our own
I almost
thing.
think this
Yeah,
DDoS.
if you're not like a
is
hardcore
kinda
gang,
good,
right? Just
And
for
no
me,
DDoS
I'm a
is
geek
good,
with
right? It's
story stuff.
malicious.
I think RP is
But
cool.
I feel
I'm
like
older,
this meeting
so,
probably wouldn't have
RP
happened
for
if
me is
that
just-
didn't
It's all
happen.
about creativity.
So
If you wanted to throw a post up with this, you and your 2 boys, I don't know, call yourselves a trio or something, whatever.
I'm kind of
You don't have to
glad
be
we're
like a
going
gang,
through
man.
this right
If you,
now. And
this
I'm-
is just
I'm
kind of if you
actually
want the perks of an
impressed
unofficial
on how many
crew
people
with
are
the
watching us
potential
right now.
to have
So,
the official
again,
crew
thank
perks,
everybody for
then I
stopping
would
by.
definitely suggest throwing up a post.
Because you could easily
Okay.
just
You know
be
what I'm saying?
in the
Sounds
Discord.
good.
Did that answer your question? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. So not allowed to be a gang without the role. That's just open up a staff ticket, provide them with your roster, throw a post up, list your roster.
Yeah,
that'd
and
be
that's
good.
why we're here, Shadow. So
Unofficials, you can't claim turf or
I
land.
think
I'm big
I don't
on
know
that.
if Hypo knew that or she
I've done
planned
RP
this,
for like
but
over 3 years now, and my 5M spot. It's an extremely serious RP spot, and we're big on the turf stuff, right? Because I think most of us here have played 5M. You know, let's be real. A couple weeks back, we had people, you know, claiming colors and claiming turf with nothing, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Any questions on that?
I'll just elaborate on something.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest like example in county right now is like if anybody has met the firm, they would know that the firm is really prominent on the East Coast. Like that is an area on an area on the East Coast that they are the most prominent at. Like that is the only official organization or official gang that is in that area. You know, and then you have, you know, on the other side of the East Coast there, you've got like the Shadow Riders, for
Up north,
example,
yeah,
right?
yep.
Up north. Like that is basically their home, you would say. And then you've got like one that's out west, right? And that's like, so they kind of all mind their own territories. Not saying that if we don't get more that they won't kind of go in, right? Because the Shadow Riders and the firm, they have a really good understanding between each other because they share that East Coast. But like for like the people out west, like I know there's like the East Coast really has all of them, but there's one out west. They don't really have any competition, but essentially like for example, when they first came in, you know, they had Blackwater, and everybody knew that the Johnsons were in Blackwater, and then they retracted out of there and they went more out west. So like I know there's a couple groups. So it kind of comes down to like, you know, if you're in an area and you are deciding you want to be an official organization, like even like Jim said, and you've only got 2 or 3 people, but you want to push that route to be an official organization with those perks, you know, you would ensure that you would get to know the groups in that area. So then when you get to that point, you're like, okay, this is where we're at. And you would give the RP to everybody else, whether it would be you would have beef between each other or whether y'all would be good between each other, you know. Like that's kind of where that little land or turf come. It's not necessarily like claiming a
Right.
space. It's more of like, okay, we know that they inhabit this city as a whole. Like we know if we come here, this is who we're coming against. This is the gang we're gonna rival against, kind of thing. But that's my only added on to that.
I got
Yeah, and
one,
actually
one.
that's-
Sorry, Jimmy.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
One
Go
thing
ahead.
to add too is like Jimmy, you've done a really good job of like kind of in county policing the server, because I don't think your staff, so to say, right? But you have your group has done a kind of a good job in kind of
RP check
policing,
everybody.
policing that up. So like that RP is really great too. So.
Thank you.
They have.
Just piggybacking off Hypo, guys. She's not. I don't want you guys to get discouraged. Conflict RP is welcome. Like we're waiting for crews to bring us some good story. If somebody's like, hey, you know, if you guys are in your little, you know, Discord saying, you know, guys, let's settle in roads, and we're fucking welcoming you guys to come and give us some juice. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you guys to say, oh, you know, I'll just use my crew for example. So
Yeah, Shadow. Like I even clocked off. I don't think anybody's
so, like,
doing shit.
We claim
Nobody can rob
our
a bank
ranch
right now.
down to Saint Denis. That doesn't mean, you know, forever. I'm going to claim that. I hope one day that, you know, you guys as unofficials come press us, man. Like that's the whole point. You know, give me some good juice. I don't care if you mop the floor with us. Just give us some RP. Like don't just say, oh, you know, the firm has roads. That's no, like never.
I'm coming for you, Jimmy.
Good. We welcome it. But just don't let the turfs you know, get you guys bummed out. There's opportunity for you guys out there. And I know some people are like, oh, they're 15 deep. It doesn't matter. You know, just give us some good RP and you never know what could happen, you know? But going on next, two or more unofficials cannot gang up a law. That's just because the unofficials right now, I think you guys are all still fairly new. And we just got to be able to trust you guys with those scenes. That's a perk. That's now tying into the official stuff. That's a perk for us. For example, Johnson's in the firm. We bailed out the Johnsons one day at a jail in Rhodes. We had a stall for the 60 minutes for the storm. And, you know, I don't want to toot our horns, but the Johnsons are very good at RP. The firm tries their best with RP. So I think the law is more than willing to roll with it there. Now, there's other perks here. We want more official crews because that just means you're leading an RP. You're providing good RP. You're giving the law, the medics,
He's 100%
civilians.
correct.
We all got to work together here to promote. We got to make this spot as great as it can be, right? This place has a ton of potential. It's 6 months old. A lot of effort goes into it. A lot of resources go into it, and the server is only going to be as good as we are together as a team. So the official crew stuff. I'm just going to talk on the gang stuff. These perks are hopefully to give you guys more want to do more. So you got you can team up on law. You can claim some colors. I know once we get more officials, the colors are going to get a little hairy. So we're probably going to lay off that hypo. If you want to
Yeah, that's
agree with me there.
um.
Official colors. So and I know we have that talk when we're doing the whole gang revamp. Once a ton of officials come, we're probably going to lay off colors. We'll probably go to objects, whether it's a gum belt or a neck bandana, something like that. Unofficials, that does not mean you guys can't rock a color, but if you guys are representing a color in a way that crew who has that color doesn't like, you're going to get pressed. And don't get pissed off because you get pressed. Roll with the scene. Roll play it out. You never know what's going to happen. Don't attack civilians, obviously.
Yeah, Crown. I've met a lot of great people here,
obviously.
man.
We're not going to shit on law. That's not why we're here.
It's
law's great in the server. Yeah, you get your bad eggs, but you get your bad eggs everywhere.
It's been fucking
yeah. I think that's really it for the group.
The best RP I've been a part of ever.
Yeah, the only thing
not a
we did do for
not
the
a whole
property
lot of
limits,
win loss mentality.
we did change it so for one per solo person,
yeah,
you
man,
get one,
big Crown, yeah, big cat,
choice,
Crown, big cat's from 5M too, man, and I just wish we would have met them fucking year ago,
the
dude.
official organizations
Like
get 3
it has
businesses and 4
been.
houses. So essentially,
I don't know,
if
dude.
you're an unofficial
I should have listened to you, but if I did listen to you before when you recommended it, I may not be where I am here today. You know, because our server
Did
was
that
the
change again?
last. Our server was the last fucking chance, you know. So and then I went to this, and I made myself. It did have a good chance, man. Had a great chance actually.
Even if it comes from, because
but
not every gang is solely
again,
focused
everything
on
happens for a reason,
providing,
and I wouldn't be here today, and I would not have met such the amazing community that I've met here if maybe that did work out.
Really
you know?
good.
I'm not saying I wish it. I'm glad. I'm glad it didn't. I wish it would have maintained, right?
But then, like, I know, like, for example, the Johnsons don't own any businesses at all. So, like, it's just, it's your choice of what you decide to do as an official organization.
Yeah, me too, man. And again, like you were, I mean, you were 90%.
Housing market,
why that even happened?
real estate,
So
stuff like that. So,
again, from me to you, 100%. Again, we'll always remember that.
To make it a little bit more fair across the board for those who choose not to do organizations at all and are kind of by themselves, and so they don't get outweighed.
But yeah.
This is all the same. This will all still be the same. The only thing,
and this server has
tips of things
probably
that you can say in county if you've never RP'd before. I know there's been a lot of people that have never.
Yeah, see, this is good too. Helpful tips to people what to say when they're like, "Oh, I gotta go to get food."
Plenty, like I said, you can say Bible, you can say prayer. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, me too.
You can say Jesus.
Not Jesus, but you can say Bible, prayer, whatever, as long as it is a realistic IC term.
Yeah.
Like you can say the government, like you can say Congress, like
Can't
I know
say Jesus.
No, we can't. We can't do Jesus. Like
why not?
Except for Greek Jesus. But
yeah, fucking praise Greek Jesus. You know what I mean?
Praise Greek Jesus.
Jimmy.
But
yeah, Crown. So
We'll just shorten it
Jimmy
to
Class
Jesus.
is probably one of the top 5 RPers in the
so
county.
it's one of
right?
those things where you just use
And I would say maybe one of the top 3.
Someone's like
Jesus.
oh yeah.
But I would say
I'm gonna
there's
be honest
one
with you,
female
no,
that
because I am a
does it
religious
really
person,
good.
and so for
And
me,
she's
like,
probably
if
one
you're
of my
kinda
top
using
ones.
religion like that, then it's
I thought we were in 1885. Is what I thought.
Actually, Nick, you can post it in the chat,
are.
brother.
This server is set in 1885.
Okay.
Both of y'all could, but
you could just say like the government.
So you have me a little lost on that.
I would look forward to that,
Yeah. So you could say like
It's really good, and at any given time, there's over 100 people in county.
say the Bible, which a lot of
So-
people refer to the rules as, refer to the rules as Bible. They
What Bible
refer
would that be though? It wouldn't
I think she's
refer to
referring-
Jesus in there.
She's referring to the rule book.
It's an RP
She's
Bible.
can't you
referring to
talk
the
about
county rules.
Jesus?
Dude, okay, you can
Can we-
you can
can we
talk
s-
about Jesus. Jesus, like
That's what I thought.
okay, right.
No one laughing.
Praise our
Perfect.
Lord Jesus Christ.
Us.
She's just referring to
Yeah,
the rules and how
so-
people refer to the rules of the
Well, I'm
county. They call
simply
it the
asking,
Bible.
why would Jesus be against the rules?
It's
No,
not
it's
against the
in
rules.
1885.
This man definitely has to be a Jehovah Witness.
What she's referring to is what we refer our the staff members to. Like, yeah, currently people say like angels or government, Congress, people like that.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about with that. All right, friend.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie, you're kind of being a tad disrespectful. So,
Thanks,
like, yeah,
Hypo.
I'm a really religious person. Like, I grew up religious. I love Jesus,
Yeah,
but
fucking Greek Jesus is great.
there's no,
Fucking right.
there's no reason for all that. I'm not
So
gonna
they
lie.
server
Yeah,
deafen them.
anyways,
And
so
back
on
on
the
topic.
yeah, back on topic. Yeah, so you can use whatever term as long as it fits IC. Like, I could care less if you say the government or Congress or whatever. There's a lot of different servers that use a lot of different terms. As long as it's an IC term, I really don't care. It just whatever you decide to use, as long as
That guy
it's
was
an
trolling.
IC term. I know that we're not picky about that kind of thing. I know a lot of people refer to tickets as prayers or whatever it might be, and so, yeah. But on that note, I think that's like the only thing that has. Those are the only things that have changed so far. While there's a lot of people here, I'll like obviously I'll be what we all talked about will be added into here by the end of. I will be up until like 4 in the morning, EST, so it'll all look like this and obviously elaborated, because not all of this it looks like right now, but I will be so we will be moving away from business applications and moving to we're in the progress of making a separate Discord for the real estate. And that's because right now we have more than just the original map. We've got 2 towns in Mexico that just opened. We've got 2 more towns in the works. We've got culture being completely revived. We've got we've got a lot of things in the works. So we decided to open up a Discord where people will it will have its own ticket system, and it just the specific people that handle all the real estate, including one-on-one with the mapping team as well. So they can actually be really involved as much as they can when it comes to that kind of stuff and getting people set up. To include the development team, just to kind of keep it from being like too much in just one Discord. And so what we are moving away from is applications and more so to proposals. So you'll actually have to put in a proposal for a business instead of a business app. A lot of those that have already do have their businesses actually just opened up tickets and sent those to us anyways. There's a few people that put in applications that were really good, and so they got approved. But the biggest thing is because now that we are getting to the community the size that we do, I guess in some ways I do want to prioritize people that put genuine effort into the businesses that they want. And so that people that don't put any effort into it won't get it. That's just fair across the board. You put effort into something, you get it. You don't put effort, you don't get it. So it's just kind of one of those things. So I will
I
be making
apologize. I don't mean to interrupt. Do you have a timeline or a rough guess of when the real estate Discord will be a thing?
My goal is by 4 a.m. today. The next morning is my goal. It's kind of what I'll be working on this evening. If not, it'll be like that following morning. So I don't even know what today is. What's today?
Wednesday.
So Wednesday. So if not, it'll be expected
she
Thursday
busy.
morning,
She
and
don't
if
know what
not
day it is.
Thursday morning, then it would be Friday morning. I'm gonna try to get it done by tonight. Morning for me. Sorry, I'm like a night person, so it's a little. My days are a little bit off. So yeah, so that's kind of my goal is by Friday morning it should be done and up and ready, but I'll make an announcement when it is. And then anybody who is already in a ticket about a business that's already being sorted, you do not need to make another proposal. We're already tracking. We'll just be transferring everything over, so you don't have to worry about that. If that is it, I do not have anything else. That is all I wanted to talk to everyone about, so everybody kind of got a handle on the rules, and so when people are in county, like I didn't know the rules changed a little bit, people can be like, nope, there wasn't, there was a lot of people there, like they did talk to us about it, there was, and I'll make another announcement letting people know that there was obviously some updates, but I wanted you guys involved in your input. But I don't have anything else, so you know.
I'm on that note. Everybody have a blessed day. I'm gonna head out.
Bye.
I got a question. Will you guys ever post like if a business becomes available? Like let's say someone abandons their stable. Will you ever post that that stable is now available?
Yeah, we plan to in the real estate Discord. So we've got it set up in that Discord to where like it'll be updated very, very frequently. There will be a form for each town, and in that town, it will have what's posted for sale and what's owned already. And we'll be updating that really frequently. And then every week we'll make an announcement to let people know to come look in the Discord, and we'll have tags that have the price cost for the building and everything like that, and stuff like that. So so it should help us in that end and kind of knocking that out for people, and so people can see what's actively on the market. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else?
Almost happy, right? Not very, but that the server was in a state so we could do this. 100%. So.
Yeah, no, I completely
Because
agree.
was it planned or was it not planned? Because if it wasn't planned, then I'm happy. But if it was planned, then goddamn it, you know what I mean?
What, this was planned?
Yeah.
No, this was not planned.
Okay,
I just
good.
decided
Yeah.
to do this
So
last
no, it's
minute.
perfect. All right, worked out.
Yeah,
Good.
I actually did. I didn't plan this at all. I literally was like, I told Chad, I was like, I'm gonna go sit in the saloon chat and let people know I'm in it, that I'm doing the rules, and then like all of these people joined, and I was like, oh shit, okay. So yeah, it just kind of happened. I know. In the past, I used to do a lot of come to Jesus meetings, or like a lot of meetings like this, but just hadn't got around to it. So
It's good for team building. Definitely
No,
do
it
more
is.
often.
You're right.
Oh yeah.
Use
Okay.
the opportunity to throw in some suggestions and also learn a little bit more about how everybody RPs and does things in this county. It's my first time doing Red M as well. It's been already a week.
First
I've been
time.
Yeah,
having
this
a
is
lot
my
of fun.
first server, man, Santana, and it's honestly it's for me. It's great. Staff's fucking unreal. You got an owner who's like genuine, which is not common.
Oh, not
it's,
at all.
It's balanced, man. It's a good spot, bro. If you put effort in, you'll definitely get the effort back for sure.
Definitely.
yeah, it just Shadow's in the UK, so he is on it about 5 hours ahead of us. So he went to bed already. Plus he's not really a talker. He's probably like one of the most genuine people I've ever met, but normally he has me do all the talking because he's just.
Well, y'all crown to Hypo that's talking right now. There's like fucking 30 veterans in this server, dude.
But
Yeah, just tell everyone to shut up.
Stop talking for a minute.
Yeah, he's a good person. You can always
Everyone stop talking for a minute.
but you can always reach out to me and
His
pick
voice
it,
is so unique too.
I'm more than welcome to talk to anybody, or if you have any questions or anything like that. So there's a lot of really good people here anyways.
Alright, I'm gonna unmute that guy at the bottom.
No, don't.
Oh, he left already.
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta unmute him.
Yeah.
Well, I knew what he was doing about 3 seconds into him talking. So
I did
Yeah,
too,
no.
and I was like, I was trying not to be a dick because I don't want to sound like a dick in front of a bunch of people, but I was like, all right, guy, you're getting a little disrespectful. Like, come on, man.
I'm not staff
That's
anymore.
safe.
I'll be a dick to him.
Right. Well, I mean, I think Jimmy was about to get on him too. I could hear it. He's like,
I was pretty close.
I mean, say what you want to me, but
There was a
let
guy
the lady
being
talk, brother.
asked about the rules.
That's what-
for the staff as Jesus.
That's why I went ahead before he could even finish what he was gonna say.
Guppy's not
Just like, you
staff
know what?
anymore?
Mute. Just
Yeah.
mute him real quick.
I just explained to Tony what happened, and he just looks dumbfounded.
What if he pronounces it as Jesus? Is that better or worse?
Jesus. I mean,
It doesn't matter.
just
Come
call
on,
him
but guys.
Jesus,
Come on.
Although Mary's my one,
No
Love me
comment.
some Mary.
Okay.
Tell Tony to stop.
Someone said to tell Tony to stop.
Is there anybody else that has any questions at all?
Stop what?
I do.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
After you, Jimmy.
No, all you, brother.
No, all you, sir.
I'm still formulating the question, so go for it.
So I just wanted to reiterate the whole getting revived by doctors where there's 15 lawmen around you and running around and then purposely standing up, you know, in a wagon to get out of the wagon and then running away, stealing a horse on the way to transport to prison, all that stuff. I thought we talked about it, but I don't know if we went back to it after
The
that.
transport wagon. You're right. I told you to. I told you to.
I
remind
did.
me.
I was
Oh,
like, shit, but there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
So
you fucking we almost forgot.
We
Napu.
almost.
We almost did.
Sorry.
So that would be. I feel like that would go under like. I don't know. I feel
It's almost like using a glitch to get out of your cuffs, or not cuffs, but
I think it would definitely be no intent to roleplay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what were
By the
we
way,
saying?
the wagon thing is such an interesting
So
thing.
there
Not
is a
only that-
thing, right? We were transporting prisoners from Armadillo to the border to get transported, and then they were using a certain thing. I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want people to start doing it, but they were getting out of the wagon or falling out of the wagon, and then when they went to go get, because there is an issue with like the cuffs, and you can really only cuff people like one time and search them one time, right? So it's, yeah, it was a shit show. So, and then the getting revived, it's kind of like in VL when there's 15 cops around you with guns out, you know, running around trying to tackle them and whatnot. So
Fucking firmies, man. Fucking firmies.
well, and actually this person has a great potential to be a great RPer, but they're immature. So I really want to see them progress in RP, but if they keep continuing, then it's just not going to work out for them.
Yeah, I mean that's. I've seen a lot of people fall. So I put when being transported in the
What's
prison
up,
wagon
Ansing?
using your
I don't know if I
dead
said
man
that
keybind
already.
to fall out of the wagon and quote unquote escape.
Well, the same with rope hog tying in as well.
That would definitely fail RP.
I got a question about the revive after you type this out.
Revive after what?
After she types this out, I had a question for her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Has anybody experienced the whole new jail system?
It's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you just oh god. Okay. So no one makes a
Sick.
ticket. While we're on this, if you escape Sisika, like you manage to escape, know that you are not free. You are not actually free.
Auto bounty.
Let them find out. Shh, let them find out.
I'm sorry.
Shush,
I'm
shh,
sorry.
shh,
Sorry.
shh,
Sorry.
zip, zip.
Sorry. Okay.
I wanted to know. I almost escaped today.
I recommend don't doing that.
No, it's terrible. Honestly,
Let the people find out.
Yeah, I want them
Shh,
to.
shh, 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 shh. Everyone zip.
I've had my fun with it on the dev server. I'll just put it that way.
I don't know about the escaping part. I just know I got more time.
So yeah, chat.
The
This,
worst part was the
actually, I'm not even going to tell
There
you.
weren't really,
How about that?
No tools to really do the
For
job.
even
so I
those
had to
that,
really
for
just
those
wait
that
out.
aren't in the county, you message me and I'll tell you. I'll tell you how it is.
So Jimmy, what'd you have to add?
If somebody gets down and their timer does not run out and they get picked up by a local doctor, shouldn't they still remember the events, but RP it as like they have like patchy
Define
memory?
local doctor. Define local doctor. Like the
like
respawn.
NPC. Yeah, NPC doctor. Yeah.
Oh, the NPC doctor, that doesn't come into account. They like so this is where I personally have been in scenes with law arresting people that are downed, thinking that the NPC doctor that if there's no doctors around, you need to get that person up regardless. So if there's no doctor around and you've waited for them and you take them to that NPC doctor that stood in the offices, that does not count to the 30 minutes late.
Okay, perfect.
They remember everything. The only time you forget 30 minutes is if you hold E to respawn and wake up in a random
Airlift.
location.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the
Because-
only time you forget.
Right, and your
Yeah,
buddies
oh.
can kind of tell you what happened, right? If
Right.
they're not down.
So last week we had a little thing, and then it was actually with Salem, and they were like, "You can't remember that." I was like, "What the fuck do you mean, man? I just got dropped literally 30 seconds ago, and I got brought to a doctor. What do you- I can't remember it, no? To an NPC doctor."
Yeah, no.
So you can remember the events.
You can
You got-
remember the
yeah.
events from an NPC doctor. The only time you cannot remember the events is when it clearly states when you press E, when you hold E to respawn, you wake up on a
Right.
random dock in a random town. It clearly states you forget 30 minutes prior
Mhm.
to your accident. So yes,
That's
you
actually a
can be
good
filled in later
clarification
in
because
RP from other characters.
some of our
and then you can continue
officers
from there.
that happens to them. So.
But that is the only time you forget 30 minutes.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's how I understood.
Okay.
I was told it was wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I think even
there's
Shadow
been-
thought that you would forget if you were taken to the local doctor.
From my understanding,
He
of
did
the
say that,
rules,
right?
that
But
is
the
not
rule
how-
interpretation is that if you get picked up by a doctor, regardless if it's a local one or not, you should be able to still remember.
Yes.
But if you have to see the light, that's when you should not remember.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But just because I thought I was crazy, and I was like, "There's no way I'm getting this wrong."
Right.
Yeah.
No,
Like the
no,
way
it's not wrong. The
But you should
NPC
still
doctor
RP those injuries
is-
too, even though the
yes.
doctor kind of didn't, do that.
Oh yeah, always.
We
Yes.
always just RP out that the local doctor did a very, very, very shitty job.
I
But
think
that is the only
way-
time you forget. Is
think the
when
way
you
you
hold
sh-
E to respawn.
I think the way to interpret it is a doctor's a doctor. What you should
Correct.
be punished for your RP whether or not there was actually a person to be on an RP a doctor scene. Nobody's RP should be ruined because of that.
Yeah, or forced.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they corrected that, right? No more /try injuries. I think that was added recently.
Are the / action ones?
Is that what that is in Red M? Yeah. The
I'm-
5M it's /try. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one is /action.
It
I
is
think,
/action.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, you can't do that.
Well, see, that's why we're here, Shadow. We're fucking doing this. The community's getting together, and we're pulling through.
I think before Giggle said it got added to like the medical SOPs to not do /action. I don't know if it ever got done to the
so
actual rules itself.
The reason medical wasn't supposed to do it anymore was because they were forcing injuries on people. And that's why it got removed
That
from
is true.
medical's SOPs.
I know that hasn't been an issue now.
Yeah.
I think so. Because I know I removed it because it hasn't been an issue now. We haven't had anybody doing that, and they did talk to a lot of the medical people, and so they know not to hopefully force any injuries on anybody. But I think it was just some people, haven't done true medical RP in a sense, and maybe in Red M, and so. The script that we have now can kind of do a lot of it for you, but there's still some things that you have to ask people about because it'll tell you like, oh, someone has a broken leg, so you gotta ask.
All right, chat. I'm muted. So what they're talking about is /action, right? You could literally flip a coin. T4 /action.
But is there
Permas.
I mean, I was just gonna say like, also like
So
with the
now
/
Napu
tries.
would be
I mean, you can do it in a sense of if you're like. I know I've seen doctors do it, like if they're stitching, it's like, oh, checks to make sure the sutures, or /tries to check, to make the
stitches
sutures tight. Like, there's
No, I'm
ways
just-
or like
that was an
appropriate ways
example,
you can
fucking
do
check.
it,
God
just
damn it,
not like
big
it was before. It was people were like
Yeah, it's
predict,
action.
like saying
Right,
people's
so
injuries.
Also,
like, other than what they wanted. So.
Yeah.
T4 /action, and then maybe no, Napu was close a couple times, just because of shit RP. But
Donnie.
So T4 /action.
I did a lot of stuff with some of the medical people that are
I
there
don't know.
now to try to help.
What's a good one?
They wanted to see how I did medical RP. That's all I've ever done before we
Loosens
opened up
ropes.
Glenwood. So they wanted to see how I did it, and it seems to be that things are getting a lot better with the medical. Their
Now
SOP
this would be a
was,
rule break, but just
rewritten. We
for those
combined
counties that don't have
what they
that,
had and
so
what I had.
wiggles out
There
of
was a lot
ropes,
of
and then you
issues,
can
I
break the
guess, where
ropes before the 5-minute
not
timer.
Vic,
Right.
but the person that
So
was
if they
there
leave you on the
before
ground,
there,
then you
I
can do
had
wiggles
already
out of
given them
ropes.
all
But
of
if
the
not,
medical stuff, and they
and you're
deleted it.
success, then you can
So
probably
this
mash
whole
your R
time,
button,
until about
and
2-3 weeks
you can't
ago,
see it.
we
I
were
just did it.
talking and realized that they just actually didn't have any
Slash
of those
me, wiggles out of
documents because
ropes.
that person deleted them.
Why can't
even though
y'all
I
see
had given
this?
them everything. And so
Yeah,
we're kind
you
of
see it. What are you
reworking
talking
that,
about?
right now and kind of doing that stuff. And
No, it's weird
coming a long
because
ways.
I'm
It's getting a lot
hiding the
better. We've got
Discord.
people interested
in
right?
medical
So
again.
we're
The
here
numbers are
in the
going
rules
back up.
section, and
People are promoting RP.
yeah, you're not gonna
The
see me
medical
typing, but
RP
it's
has gone
/action,
significantly better. I
right?
was very lucky to be a part of
So
a really, really good scene with some of the
I'll do
marshals.
this for you guys. One
And
second,
also the
because
Johnsons. Shout
you
out
know
to the
you saw
Johnsons because I had
what
a
was
really good
happening
scene
in
with them,
Hypo's.
and created quite the character arc for
I
Donnie.
heard she was getting DMs in the bottom of Discord, and
Really good.
I'm not trying to sell nobody out, right? So it would be this.
Have been starting to go to calls more when they are able,
right?
because there's more numbers now. They can finally leave. I know in places like New Hanover, I've spent time in New Hanover on my
So
doctor
it's a
character.
50-50
I
coin
just want to let
flip,
people
but
know
my
that
res isn't
sometimes it
still
feels like
not.
doctors
Actually,
never
it's
come and
still.
get you. There was one night where I did 7 mass casualties in Valentine. I literally
Why am
did
I
not leave
off
the
to the
office
left?
for 6 hours. Like dead ass. Like it was like one after one. It was the lawman, then it was a bunch of criminals. It was back to back. So sometimes if there's not
I guess
enough
we're good.
medical around, they
Let me
end
see
up
if
getting
the
stuck
let me
in
see
an
the camera
office
and
all
border
day
come
long
up.
treating people because they just don't have the ability to go other places.
We hear
Excuse me for interrupting.
Mm-hmm.
Is that 6 real life
Does it look better
hours
now?
that you sat in the office, or in-game hours?
Oh, like out of county hours.
My good God.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So I just want to let people know while they're here, they're the doctors, the doctors that are around have been working super fucking hard to try to get through calls.
Windowed
In fact,
borderless.
the scene that we went to with the Johnsons was probably the first mass cal we've ever been able to go out to because we finally had a breather room in Valentine. So that's why I've kind of been promoting people to kind of join the medical department again. The more doctors that we have, the more people will be able to actually go out and treat people. But it really sucks when you're stuck in a medical office for 7 hours of actual real
Let's fucking
time.
see, Shadow.
And
Really
you've done like 8 mass casualties back to back, and some really intense scenes, and then you've got medical that got to go do Sisica full time now, and then we got to have medical go down to Mexico.
It's not under here. It's under
there's a lot of
graphics.
there's not enough medical, but a whole lot of places opening up, and that's why I opened up in
windowed
Reno
borderless.
to try to maybe
So
get
that
some people interested in being a doctor up in Coulter.
that allows me to alt
Well,
tab.
real
and the
quick,
shit
I
not
am
be
IRL
when I alt tab, it doesn't make
medical.
the screen black.
So, oh, are you?
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I'm in Virginia.
Oh yeah, I'm out in Southern California.
Oh my god.
Oh, we're
I
making
hate the
friends.
state, but yeah, I mean, I could offer that. This is my first time I legitimately have loaded into the server ever.
Wow.
So what is? I just had a couple of
Chat,
questions,
we're gonna go back
kind
to the
of
meeting.
about the backpack. Like, how do I access the backpack? Or do I not have one? So I don't have like an inventory, or?
Yeah, so the backpack, the best thing to do would be to
Okay.
So
are you
it's
referring
like
to your satchel or the actual physical backpack that you put on your back?
Not the backpack that you put on your back, the satchel.
You would just flex your beam, your.
Hey, Hype, you might
B
want
on
to
your
get general
keyboard.
real quick.
I'm sorry. What did you say, sir?
Just press B on your keyboard. That'll open up your inventory.
Oh, B. Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
helpful.
Yep.
Okay.
You can also find other keybinds in the keybinds section of the Discord.
All right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just couldn't remember.
I'll be right back.
I don't know. This is, it's built differently than anything I've ever been in.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, it's I have to navigate figuring it out.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people in county who for sure can answer like any questions that you have. But yeah, the backpack is going to be like its own separate inventory that you would have. So like on your person once you equip it. But there is a lot of people in county too who
That's the backpack. So like I would have to go somewhere and purchase that.
Yeah, so you have your own player inventory, and then you can purchase a backpack for like extra inventory.
All right.
If you want, you're more than welcome. Some people don't, some people do. I don't because there's a really large carry limit already on the people, more than like any other county I've ever seen. So I don't ever really need a backpack.
The only time people use backpacks is when they're hauling, like, I know, like, miners use it a lot for, like, hauling rocks, and, like, people who, like, do a lot of crafting when they're hauling
Right.
supplies to, like, their saloons and stuff like that. A lot of the natives use them. But, yeah, I think that's really about it. But do you
Thank
have
you.
any other? Yeah, of course.
Nick, we were just
I mean, on
going
that
over the
note, I
rules,
don't really
brother.
have, anything else. I know the voices are still a little fucked in county, so we're working on it. I promise.
A
We're
little's
fucking
an
working on it.
understatement.
We're fucking working on it. I promise,
I
guys. Like,
know.
we've been banging our head against the table all day today.
I can't even get in.
Thank you for answering my questions, by the way.
Oh yeah, of course. Like of course, yeah, like for sure.
Ooh, I have a
What?
question, Hypo.
Yes.
So concerning the house limit, is it only houses that you can physically buy in character that count towards it, or do houses people have donated to get also count towards it?
The what? Hold on.
So how, like, people have, like, the limits they can have on houses. Like, gangs can have, like, what was it, 4? 3 or 4? Do the houses that people have paid IRL money for count towards that limit?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That counts. It's a house. So it counts towards the gang. It doesn't matter if it's a house that's already in the map, like the base map, or if it's a house
Nick,
that's
he's
purchased,
new. That's
but
why.
it is counted towards the gang. So that's up to the gang to
He just
make
needed
sure
some
that they
clarification.
aren't
So
breaking
that's what kind of this meeting was
rule.
for.
Because
You
if
know,
they
like
are,
to kind of get everybody on the same page with the
and
rules.
we
But
see it,
this is his
we'll
literal
let them
first
know
day in
that
county,
they
and he
got to
has no
figure it
idea.
out. And
You
if
know,
they don't figure, we'll give them some time to figure it out. And if not, then we're gonna seize it from the database. And
I'll be honest, that's probably the one thing I really don't get, because why let someone even get those houses if they join a gang and then they're just ripped from them? Or it limits the RP of them being able to actually do the RP with the gang.
So the reality of it is like houses, like, right? So when someone donates for a house in this server, they're donating for something that they want, which we're more than happy to give to people. It is up to them if they decide to RP their main character that's in a gang, that they make sure they still follow the same rules as
I'm
everyone
gonna say
else.
something in reference to
Not
this
everyone
too.
has the capabilities to be able to donate real life money into this server, and that's completely okay if they decide not to. They still follow underneath the same rules as anybody else. If they were to purchase in-game houses, it still applies to the gang. Even my own situation, I had a house, it still applied to the gang. So it's one of those things where it is up to the person. They can choose to donate, the whole gang can choose that they'd rather donate to get their own houses than to purchase houses on the map, but all of those houses will still count towards the gang, because their character chooses to be involved in the gang, right? But if they decide to purchase that house in a different character, then that's fine. But that's up to them. But if they're on that character and that's the house they want it for, and we put it in the DB for that character, then yeah, it does apply to the gang. And that's just because we have to keep it fair. We can't put people that do donate over people that haven't, because not everyone has the ability to donate.
I have just a quick question. I'm not sure if it's gonna be a generalized. If we maybe said it already, I was out for a bit. Concerning, I guess, like marshals and like law, for example, if they are roaming around with 14 plus looking for criminals, and say they find the criminals and the criminals run on foot, are all 14 allowed to engage in them, to class with them, or is there like a limit to that?
There should be a realistic limit to that. So if there's 14 lawmen, they shouldn't be ganging up on 2 criminals.
What about a town under martial law?
So a town under martial law. I know what situation you're talking about. So I'm gonna give my preface on what happened with the martial law. I see that situation was actually pretty good. It was very long.
It was.
It was really good, very detailed. A lot of talking went on. However, also IC speaking again, the marshals were completely in the wrong because according to 1879, congressional law states that the U.S. cavalry or the U.S. Army cannot be used as a military force without congressional order. The marshals are not congressional order.
So not that one, Hypo. The other one, a couple days after that. I understand where that one was, right? But it was one where there's 4 criminals inside and there's martial law. There's no marshals or cavalry there. There's all sheriff and deputies, right? And I was worried about it being a 6v4, and the other deputies were worried about it, you know. But I would say that if a town's under martial law and 4 criminals want to go in there and start shit, and there's nothing but deputies in there, there shouldn't be a limit on what. Now the cavalry and all that stuff's different. It should be, you know, but if all the deputies were there, that's when there's like, hey, there's we're worried about more than 6. No, there's no worried about more than 6 when it's martial law. You know what I mean?
My issue with the martial law thing is I feel like, and this is like completely out of character, like obviously, but my issue with the martial law is I don't necessarily agree with it because I feel like it trumps the fact of why is there law enforcement there if marshals are just going to come in and declare law where there's already law in a place. That's my issue with martial law unless it's requested by the law enforcement department to be there. But overall, so like take this situation that I experienced, the sheriff of that town, regardless of there being martial law, it still has the same amount of authority as the marshals declaring law in that town.
Right.
The marshals are not like this untouchable law force. The sheriffs still have the overall authority of their designated towns. So like the whole thing, you know, so if you're down in Armadillo or even up in Lemoyne and you're the sheriff of Lemoyne and martial law comes in and they're like, oh, we're martial law. You're like, I'm still the sheriff. Y'all are on the same playing field.
Right.
So, you know, whatever decision that you make as a local law enforcement would be whatever decision that you make. The marshals still have to come in and respect the fact that you're the sheriff of that town. They can't just over trump your law because they feel like it. That's not really how marshals do things. Marshals aren't really supposed to be declaring law in any towns. Realistically, their whole job is to do investigations and stuff.
Right.
I don't know what's happening where they're like declaring martial law places, but they're not
so
supposed
the
to.
biggest thing when it comes to that, right, is I want to make sure that there's no issue when it's more than a 6v4, right? So if there's only 4 individuals there, but the town itself is under now, if the town wasn't under martial law, then if there's only 4, then maybe only 4 officers should respond, unless it's a bank robbery or something like that, right? So if it's under martial law, like those criminals shouldn't even be there. Realistically,
right? Because you would think if it's underneath martial law, the marshals would be there, but there never are. So it's really like one of those things where like that's my issue with it because the marshals come and declare law in a town and then they're not even in the town.
Right.
So I personally feel like, you know, they shouldn't be doing that.
And I'm not worried about the citizens that are already there, right? I'm worried about if a town is declared under martial law, right? And there's nothing but deputies and sheriffs there, right? And this is nothing to do with the scenario that I think you're thinking about. It has to do with another one, right? And those 4 criminals think they can just wear a mask in the town because they quotation mark have medical exemptions, and then they try to start shit, and then they shoot 2 of the negotiators inside the saloon. Like, they should already know that they're gonna get overwhelmed by the 14 other deputies outside. If the town is under martial law only.
The rule of matching numbers should still in place though. If so, that situation, they took over a saloon, that is a robbery at that point. So that is where your robbery rules as deputies would come in. So you match, so with your robbery rules, you can have like 6 in total, on the scene, right? So at that point, your robbery rules would stay at point there, not martial law rules.
But so that's the thing, Aqua, is martial law rules intact right now? Because I think that needs to be clearly defined in what are the rules.
It also depends, because if you have criminals who are purposely initiating in cop baiting that or failing to fear for their lives against 14 deputies.
Correct.
It's one of those things. If there's 14 deputies in a town, they should want nothing to do with
Exactly.
them, and they should want to leave town.
Yeah.
So, real quick question. I'm in the stable and I got stuck once I got out of the menu. What do I do?
You'll have to make a ticket, hon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like, I can't move. Is there...
You got to make a ticket, and one of the gov will be able to help you.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
If you're able to get back into the stable menu, sometimes it's because you have gotten out of it too quickly. So if you go back into it and then get
I
back out of
see.
it, sometimes that works.
I'll try that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Oh, there it is. That worked.
But my confusion with the whole law thing is like, okay, my confusion with the whole martial law thing is that like, it's like this divide of like different laws when they're all the same law. I don't.
No,
I don't like it. Like, I really actually am starting to not like it because the marshals, like in 1885. Let me my bachelor's degree. Let me actually fucking use it for once. Let me actually earn the money all I put into it. But it's in 1885 or the 1880s, the marshals actually had nothing to do with local law. They literally could care less if they were crumbling.
Yeah,
Like their whole intent was to be investigators. They weren't like a force that was to be brought into to aid. That is not what the marshals were. The marshals were used to enact on serious crimes, you know, like very serious
Like
crimes
federal
like
type
federal
stuff.
offenses.
That's the thing. Marshals don't want to. It's a matter of Shadow put him in that position because Law was having so many issues.
I'm confused. Is it Marshall? I'm sorry.
Because I feel like I feel like I had a talk with the marshals and I told them that, like, you know, you don't have to do that anymore. Like,
yeah, no,
that was weeks ago.
And the towns, specifically New Austin and New Hanover, both asked for martial law and martial assistance. The thing is, the sheriff offices are telegramming the marshal department for backup and for assistance. Like, hey, we're having issues. We need marshals down here.
Because my thing is like, we might need to make it clear. Because like, okay, in my mind, like, if you're according to records, right? If they're bringing in martial law, then marshals need to be stationed down there the whole time. Like, you would ride into Armadillo or New Austin and you would see marshals standing on the porch. Like that's what would be happening, but they're not doing that. So it's like it's one of those instances of like it's either cuz we have enough law. We have plenty of law in every department. Even Mexico, we're getting up there. We're kind of working on it. So there's really, in my eyes, the marshals are being this law force that is like the sheriff should be the utmost authority when it comes to their towns, and marshals are like your investigative departments. They shouldn't be involved with local law. And I had a talk with them several weeks ago, and we had agreed on that.
Yes.
When we talked about it, but that doesn't seem to be what's going on, and so that's where my issue with it, because even more so my issue has come to the fact that there is marshals in a martial law area, and then they're like, well, I can't do anything about it, and then it's like, but you're a marshal. Like, you're a marshal. What are you talking about? So the marshals are not supposed to be a gang. They're not an organization that runs together.
Right.
Like in records, if you look at marshals, they were all separate investigator entities.
Stations.
They did. Yeah, they separate stations, separate entities, separate books. They did not function as one. They are not a gang. They're not an organization. That's where I had spoken to them about, like, with that like they're supposed to be separate. Like, they're not supposed to be this whole thing where they run around together and go to towns together. No, they're supposed to be like spread out everywhere. Like, you don't know where they're at. They're supposed to come find you. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the whole. That's what made them so ominous.
Which brings up my comment, right? Like, there needs to be a rule set for them. right? If that's how everybody feels, like, 'cause I'm very indifferent. Like I could care less, honestly. I just hope Lemoyne never comes to that point, right? As Sheriff Napu, right? But there needs to be kind of like a rule set with that as well,
Yeah,
along with the cavalry as well, right?
Yeah.
And it needs to be clear and defined so we don't
I
run
do
into
agree
issues.
with that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with that, marshals came from rangers. They should have stayed as rangers. They should not have moved to marshals because the rangers are supposed to be the ones that run as a group. It's a matter of, but they were promoted to marshals via Shadow for whatever reason.
That wasn't Shadow.
And-
That I made them marshals.
okay,
Because
so
I made them marshals because Bane, the Yeti, wanted that's so. I made them
so maybe
marshals
it's something we need
because
to go look back on together.
yeah. Yes,
And
because
I think that conversation also, Hypo, needs to happen with the kind of heads of the federal department like yourself, and then like the rest of like the higher up law, so we can clearly define. You know, like it doesn't have to be today by any means, but it just kind of just let's iron it out so we don't get civilian complaints and because there was a lot of stuff that happened that probably shouldn't have happened. You know, when that happened, but
there was quite a bit of rule breaks that happened
but
down there.
You're telling me.
Yeah. So
so it's just a matter of getting together and having that meeting.
Yeah.
Sorry, briefly to interrupt, but if anybody has admin in the court Discord as well, that would be great.
I'm in the court Discord.
Yeah, there's a message that needs gone.
Oh, sorry.
The what Discord? If you guys
Law
need
Discord
to,
Telegram members.
Oh, thanks.
if you guys need stuff, you need to be opening tickets. We're doing meetings right now, hon.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, we're all in here.
What's the situation with the court Discord?
So right now with that, it's a matter of we lack personnel. Right now there are 9 court cases that are open. We do not have an attorney general. So we have 2 judges, a court clerk, and a paralegal. But we need a defense attorneys, we need attorney generals.
Chad, I'm glad y'all sticking around for this. I know I'm standing in a
everything's
barn right now,
basically
but
on hold.
we are listening to the thing. I stopped streaming Discord because there's no point right now. So
the situation I was talking about was in Valentine. I think there was like 4 or 5 criminals that rolled up, and then the town basically got surrounded by 10 or 12 marshals. Criminals try to run, and about all 12 marshals plus the deputies on duty chased after him. I guess is that an alright thing to do? That's just mainly my question. I just don't know what all their rules and regulations are as to chasing criminals.
So I would say, go ahead, Giggle.
Only 6 lawmen can participate max in any given scene unless they are matching numbers.
Okay, that's what I figured. I wasn't 100% sure. And I get I'm pretty sure. I think Valentine was under martial law at that point, but it was a significant amount more than 6.
Yeah, no, it's just a matter of if they're breaking procedures and you notice that, you can make complaints, or you can make tickets. And so it just depends on how you want to handle it. It's either you make a ticket to Gov or you make a complaint to Department of Justice or DOJ or
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't
Marshals
meaning to
or-
make a ticket. I was just more or less trying to get it cleared in my head in case there was future.
No, I get it.
I have one question about the. Is it MARTIAL law or MARSHAL law? Because I think that's a huge point of confusion.
Especially now that there's
Because the
the
martial law,
army
like
is-
MARSHAL law, that's.
No, it's
I don't know.
TIAL.
Okay, so like martial law, okay, because that people. I think the point of confusion is coming from people who are acting like it's the marshal's department law.
No,
Whereas it's military law, right?
TIAL, where
right.
and most of the sheriffs have called for it because they are lacking in such numbers.
Yeah, suspension of posse comitatus,
Yeah.
essentially. Okay.
Yeah, because at least for New Austin, up until yesterday, we had at most maybe 3 deputies on duty at any given time, if that.
So it was just a matter of.
Have you been, Coulter? First of all,
I was on a week LOA.
a week,
So-
bitch. You've been gone for months.
Oh no, I've been back for like a month now, Hypo.
Yeah, you just
Well,
missed them.
yeah. I mean, maybe, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the confusion is where the sheriffs call martial law, the marshals come in as backup, or USC comes in as backup, but it's not the marshals calling for law; it's the sheriff calling for martial law.
Right, it's the sheriff calling for essentially. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm sorry. My bad.
Right, I just wanted to clarify, 'cause my understanding was it was indeed a situation where the local sheriffs requested assistance from the federal government, and that's why certain things were suspended, like posse comitatus, and this is, if we're talking legally speaking, these are all things that happened since the early 1800s, so it would be at play for the, it would be period appropriate, but I think that's where the confusion is, because people hear the word martial law and they think it's like the U.S. Marshal Service, it's their
No.
law, but I think it's because the word is so similar, people are confusing it.
Yeah,
And the U.S. Army is fairly new, right? Like the
Don't get me
because
started on the
once
US Army.
they
I about fucking laid it out on them in that scene. I was like, I am in the Army, bitch. I know how that works. And then I was like, never mind. I gotta stay IC right
it's
now.
a matter of most of the stuff and procedures and SOPs, uniforms, and all that are still changing. And with all these new departments opening up and all these new regulations opening up, there is going to be chaos and confusion, and hopefully at some point within the next month, all of it will be listed and ready for public view.
Because right now, like, the whole thing with there's been a couple scenes where, like, it's just a whole lot. I think it's a lot of integrations of different things at once, and so because of that, it doesn't. I wouldn't say it gets messy, but I would say that it's just different laws. But technically speaking, and I'm sorry for any of you who play IC characters like this, but as a soldier in real life, you're just toy soldiers. You're not there to enforce law at all. In fact, unless it comes down from Congress, technically speaking, you can't do anything to anybody. You literally cannot fire or put your hands on somebody unless it comes down from congressional law.
Yeah,
That's been a thing since the very, very beginning. And there was a lot of situations that I would say that, that I've experienced. I see that are good, and there's some situations I've
That's
experienced
interesting.
that haven't been good. So while yes, like obviously back in the 1800s things were a bit different. However, the Army, I can tell you all about the Army. It's a place of standard. There is regulations still in place from the 1700s. There's not a whole lot that changes.
I did 5
Saluting.
years in.
Yeah, so that's the thing about I have an issue with the U.S. Cavalry technically, because technically speaking, it has to come. The most highest congressional law would technically be the DOJ. And if that means that I would need to make a character that comes from Congress to do so and enact on those things, then absolutely I can.
Glenwood president? What? Who's
Not
doing
like a
that?
president, but like a Congress character, then yes, it would have to be technically written down by
Napu for
Congress and an
president.
official. Yeah, right. I agree with that actually.
I voted
so
for
it's like,
Cleveland.
I would vote for him. So it's one of those things where like that's where I felt like they were enacted and that it wasn't really done IC properly. Because had it been done IC properly, things wouldn't have gotten as.
Well, I can explain the confusion right now, because as a person who's, the captain over there, I've got a military background. I did, 5 years.
Yeah, he's the captain.
Active duty Army. I was military police. I was investigated for traffic.
Oh, that tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah, so I've got a background in
Military
it. So.
police just sets me off.
Aw.
Oh, come on.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm used to it.
Of the night.
I'm used to it. It's all right. Blue Falcon. Someone's got to do it. But
Yeah, I know. I fucking know. Fucking bitches.
The point of confusion here is that we've been operating this whole time with the understanding that there is a congressional declaration of martial law. So that's something that I think needs to be worked out, because the entire time all the actions that the cavalry's been taken were predicated on the understanding that there was one, and if there's not, I think that's a breakdown in communications between government and the Marshal Service, because the information forwarded to us as the cavalry was that this is a situation where there has been a declaration of martial law by the federal government, posse comitatus is suspended, habeas corpus is suspended, and that's why the cavalry's been operating the way it was in New Austin. If that's not the case, then we need to adjust fire very, very quickly.
Which is why I said that there needs to be kind of like a
me and Napu was vibing IC. We were like, yeah, I know what you're saying, man. I know what you're saying, but like nobody else was getting that we were like literally thinking about the same thing IC. But I was like, I'm gonna just play it out, Napu. I'm gonna play it out.
Got you, sister. I got you.
But I know that
we're the toy soldiers right now acting on incorrect information. Then that's the issue. Is that right now we're acting with.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, I'll talk with the Olive, you guys in like 15 minutes from now, and hopefully we can kind of like get a basic, because technically, like I said, if that means I have to make a Congress like character like the Glenwood State Congresswoman, then all right, then that'll be the seal of approval for things. But it's like, if, and that's just because I see, if it's technically speaking, I see that's what would need to happen. Like you got, the U.S.
Yeah, Shadow. I'm not gonna tell you who she is. That's why her name is hidden, right? To protect her identity, right? Because she is kind of a higher staff government federal job. But yeah, she is an IC character, and you can already pick together what she's talking about and what scene she's talking about, right? So
I have not only had. And so
yeah, let's just keep it kind of IC in the chat, but yeah. But yeah, Crown, no, he is the captain of the cavalry right now, and they do border patrol. So.
At a ripe 18 years old to be involved in the military. So
I was 19.
Yes, they got me all as nice and young.
But again, Crown, that shows you the amount of veterans that are in this county and why it's kind of running so well. It's kind of running like the Chick-fil-A drive-through, to be honest. So.
Really, at that point, it's just me applying my actual personality to something for once. So
our current SOP has a clear delineation between regular military duties and the whole martial law thing. The regular SOP, as far as dealing with civil authorities, is purely logistics, support, transportation, things like that. Things that you'd expect in a regular, maybe the National Guard would perform in modern times, but at the time since there was no National Guard, purely civil support functions. We have a separate section entirely for a declaration of a state of emergency, which would cover martial law. I think the main thing is that we've been operating under the presumption that there was some kind of ticket opened with the government, and that's where this was coming from, or some kind of other agreement between the marshals and the government. We were operating under the assumption that this is when the marshals start saying, hey, it's martial law, our understanding is, okay, they've crossed their T's, dotted their I's. This is a suspension of habeas corpus and posse comitatus. And if it's not, then we are on very different legal footing with this.
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, the National Guard's been around since 1636.
As militias, though, it's not a real thing.
Well, it's everybody hates the National Guard, but
weekend warriors.
They are. Right. But on that note, we'll just have to sit down, and I think some of them are already in there, and then
honestly, Crown, I don't know. So we might be transferring over to another chat here in a second.
Goody good stuff. So we can kind of get that figured out. Because, yeah, that was my issue with the interaction that happened. And then the warrants. Like, technically, my issue with it is that because it happened to the U.S. Army, the warrants that were issued out on the people that it was, they technically should have came from Congress. They should have been maybe for... It should have definitely been written differently for what had happened. And I wouldn't call that a terrorist attack. What I call it insurgency, I don't know if I'd call it insurgency. Is it similar? Yes. But I think there's just been a lot of miscommunications just as far as you guys' part, because you guys are so new and not a lot of people really know what's going on.
I think it's more a legal thing. I honestly think it comes down purely to, is there martial law in place or not? If martial law is in place, then was it declared by, the president or Congress? Yeah. And if not, then because that entirely changes our rules for operating. It entirely comes down to, does martial law exist or not?
Yeah, right now it doesn't. That's why I
Too easy then.
So right now, martial law does not exist. Now, had I known about it, before then, I would have made a Congress character that could have helped aided in that situation. But I was not aware. And I'm really busy. I'm not going to blame that on anybody. I'm just super busy. But had I been made aware, I would have made a Congress character, and we could have absolutely done that. But technically speaking, if the marshals declared martial law, just MARTIAL law, down there, then they were they're, IC, they're looking at a heavy court case.
Yeah,
like,
that's what the
ahead
signs say.
in court
All the
case
signs
because-
post around town say MARTIAL law.
Yeah. So so if the marshal's department did that, then their IC gonna be in trouble, right? Because technically speaking, there is no congressman that signed off for them for a MARTIAL law to be declared anywhere. So like that's where I
Marshall
think
and Marshall.
because as of right now, it should only be like the marshal department and then the local law. There shouldn't be like.
Gotcha.
Technically speaking, they haven't even the U.S. Army hasn't even been fully implemented with Congress to be able to operate under. Technically, and so that's where the DOJ, right? So then I would make a character within the DOJ that is a congresswoman and can sign. Her whole job is just to sign off on documents specifically for that reason. But but that's where I think like some of the miscommunications may have come off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're still being
we can
DDoS.
figure all that out and kind of
It took
get that
way
done.
too long to do.
But it just, obviously I see the situations that have already occurred. They're gonna have to keep rolling. However, if now that I'm made aware of it, like I can have the congresswoman come in and maybe kind of put some notices out, and be like, hey, I'm here. Congress is here. Let's backtrack. So. And kind of iron things out IC for people so we're not interrupting anything IC that's already got the rolling going. We don't want to stop the ball that's already rolling, but we'll just add things IC that will either help
Bring it
that
under
ball
control.
roll or kind of reel it back in and kind of give some purpose to what they're supposed to be doing. So
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm definitely tracking what you're saying now. It seems like the whole crux of the issue is just that the soldiers were informed that it was a different legal situation there than it is, and now that we're aware it's not the case, we can adjust fire accordingly because we've got protocols in place. We've actually, done civil support in other ways that were more in keeping with peacetime army. It's just that in this situation, the reason why the soldiers were acting the way they were was because they were under the impression this was a congressionally or presidentially decreed state of emergency.
That needs to
So
be done IC though, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like all of that stuff needs to be done IC. So that's just more of like kind of like how I did with the medical department. I'll spend a couple of days IC on a congresswoman character and get integrated in that way, and kind of come out and do some things. And so hopefully with that coming in, that'll also help the DOJ because there is things that the DOJ does that has to go through Congress, right? And
Crown, I'm not sure if they would do that, but I would say kind of let's just it might
if there's a high enough warrant on somebody, like a statewide warrant, then
Yo, brother.
that's the thing that's happening with warrants right now.
Terry.
Is technically warrants should be going out by first
Okay,
the local
I'm gonna
area.
have to get you your monies
If
too.
the
So,
warrant for the local area does not
wow, you're sounding very good. Actually, everybody in the county had a sore throat. There's something going around.
The
So,
local law can't find it. Then they would then route that
mhm.
warrant up to the DOJ.
So that's why it's
DOJ
kind of
would,
low right
look at
now.
the warrant, would
CDC.
evaluate the
So,
warrant, how long they've been out.
I was wondering why
Then
it's
would
so.
yes,
take
he is
that
a horse
warrant
trainer.
and send it up to a
Yep.
statewide
Well,
warrant
you
to
bucket
Congress,
something.
and
I'm
they would sign
push
off
you
on
off your
it and
horse.
rule them as such. It would be a whole IC
God damn it!
trial
Don't say that
to
word.
go through. And I think that's just because there's a whole lot that goes into that, and there's just not a whole lot of DOJ people right now.
Motherfucker.
And
You
I
motherfucker.
wasn't tracking.
Don't say that.
Oh, that.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah, it's fine if you got them trained. We gonna
I won't step on toes where I don't
hold on to him right now. How about that? Because I don't know because of the storm.
and I'll
Like,
come in and do it.
let's reconvene tomorrow, okay? And then I'll pay you the monies. Do you need the monies right now? You hurting?
How would I go about joining the DOJ? Because I joined their Discord there,
Yeah,
and
I'll get you the
I don't
monies
see any
tomorrow.
like clear
Okay.
application
guy on
sort
the
of
back
thing.
of that
I might
horse.
be missing something.
Brother, to be honest, we can't really do shit right now.
Yeah, there is a
Yeah, again, you look at the storm time, it's 20 minutes. So,
is down for
Okay.
maintenance. It was taken
alright,
down
brother,
a couple
so
days
probably
ago.
gonna head out for tonight. Maybe be
Okay,
back
I'll keep checking.
after storm just to check and make sure everything okay.
That makes sense.
We definitely need lawyers.
I would like to be one. I've been thinking about it. I just haven't,
probably
like,
not
I
going
didn't
to
know if I had
bed.
to, like,
I'll be
find
right
someone
back after
in
storm
county
for
or
1 hour.
Look at the
just to see
Discord.
if
I wasn't seeing
the voice
anything.
is better. Your voice sounds way better than anybody else's. I heard.
Who
So
you would find in county? I actually have no
Fine.
idea.
So
yeah, so maybe
right
it's
now,
fixed. Maybe
I'm
well, I'm
the
gonna check
only
with the
active
government to see what goes
DOJ
on. Right now we're in a
member,
meeting, so to say, in
so,
our heads.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm in that meeting
All right.
as well.
Well, let
okay,
me know
well,
when the
well, I'll let you know. Okay.
application is back
alright,
up, and
yeah.
I'll apply.
yeah, I'll let you know. I'll make
All right, thank you.
I'll probably add up another announcement for it, for DOJ and then medical.
Yeah. And on that note, I'm going to hop to another Discord and join another call to kind of sort this stuff, stuff out. And then if anybody needs me,
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you.
yeah,
Yep, same.
I'm about to jump over there and do
All the
that.
law is gonna be like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh
Motherfuckers.
boy.
Later, everybody. Good talk.
Later.
And we're back.
Farewell, senior deputies.
Indeed.
I'll always remember you.
Okay. So I just had a big old talk with some of the law people that play law characters in the other Discord. So essentially, oh, give me 1 second.
Holy shit, chat. There's a lot of sheriffs in this one.
Hold on.
Actually. Okay, I take
Oh,
that
good.
back.
I
There's two.
can. So I'll take this opportunity to take the stage. Guys, I have a brand new
God.
up and coming entrepreneurial idea.
Boy.
Okay, did they just kick that guy?
He got shot.
Ow.
That was great.
Okay, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm
you
here,
can't
I
join this
promise.
one. It's a GC.
So essentially, I was talking to a bunch
but,
of other law in the other.
I wouldn't
the
join
main
it. It's a
Discord, we
higher
were
upper
talking about some
one.
things.
Stitch.
And so, which I'm sad none of the marshals are here. You know, I call for a meeting and none of them are fucking here, assholes. But it's fine.
Marshals can't join this channel.
So let's find another one.
Which one can they join that we can all be in?
Probably the high command one, right?
No, they can't join high command.
Only
high command?
head marshal.
They can only join the supervisory because marshals are not high command. The only marshals are Yeti and Ricard.
So let's go to
that have access to this one.
the supervisor.
Supervisory?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Meet y'all there.
supervisor. We'll jump over there. There we go.
They need another ping because the last ping went out in high command.
Yeah, hold on. I don't know. Yeah, so just let them know to join. Because I don't want to not be involved. But
Wait,
like,
so before we start any further, right? So I got third eyeballs right now. Do I need to just say later, brothers and sisters, and then we have this meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second, okay? All right, everybody. So you motherfuckers. All right,
Also,
so I would say
I had a question that I completely forgot
He's still
to
talking.
ask, by the way.
I thought
It's
I was
a little
deaf.
irrelevant.
I'm deafened now. So, a lot of information went out tonight. The county was kind of fucked, right? So we're probably gonna end it, but I'm gonna make it up to you, motherfuckers. Okay? So Friday. Oof, I'm announcing it now. I'm gonna try to do a 24-hour stream. Okay? So we're gonna start Friday at maybe 6 p.m. and try to go to 6 p.m. Saturday. All right. So I will tell you guys that because I will be partaking in libations during that time, right? Especially from 6 p.m. to at least 2 to 3. I'm gonna start drinking water, but I need y'all's support, okay, to make me not go over the limit. All right. You jealous of the hair, sister? Okay. So, but we are going to do a 24. How about this? I promise a 12-hour stream. I'm going to do that. We're going to do a 12-hour stream. We're going to go from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. guaranteed. But if I feel like I can do a 6-hour more to 6 p.m. the next day, I'm going to do it. I know there's very few streamers that have done it, right? Probably a handful, probably the 1%ers, right, of the streamers have done 24 hours. I'm going to try to do it, all right? I don't want to miss this meeting. A lot more people join that are higher command. So I would say tune in Friday, 6 p.m. That's my goal, is to get there by 6 p.m. Maybe 5:30, start it earlier, right? But I'm not going to have a timer. You're just going to use the Twitch timer, right? And we're going to try to do 24 hours. I'm going to try it, but I promise at least 12 hours. That's what I'm promising. Don't get upset if I don't do 24 hours. I'm sure the beer is going to be involved, right? So I just know that makes you sleepy and more comfortable. So I would say I'm going to try and we'll see what happens. I don't know if it's going to fuck me on Monday or not, but we're going to see. All right. So with that said, thank y'all for stopping by. Tony Gaines with the offline follow. We had one follow today. No subs. That's fine. No pressure, right? But we will be back. I'll be back tomorrow for sure to stream. Hopefully the server's better, right? But Friday, we're going to start at 6 and see what happens. And I hope you all are there. And I would love to do that with everybody. So as soon as you go to bed and then you see Napu still awake and he's streaming, you're going to see him on Saturday morning. Just eat your cereal and shit, and we're going to see what happens. All right, brothers and sisters. Later, motherfuckers. See ya.
Regular law, and so that's just because people just don't know. That's just because